We got to get YouTube horizontal going, and then we'll be on Instagram live tonight, and we're going to do TikTok as always. So give me about a minute to do this. We're talking about Trump's America. Several items have made the news today. One being, let me turn down my television in the background. You're hearing Chris Cuomo. He's actually interviewing Tucker Carlson. It's a decent interview. Tucker's kind of wild, but we'll talk about all of that. Let me go ahead and finish what I'm doing here, and then we can get the party going. But yeah, Tucker Carlson is being interviewed by Chris Cuomo. So they've done an interview before and it got millions of views. So he's talking to him because, regardless of how you feel about either one, Tucker Carlson does have the heartbeat of MAGA. I mean, he is very well tied with MAGA, so that's why Chris Cuomo wanted to interview him. So I'll go ahead and end that and watch that after I'm done talking with you folks. But I watched about an hour, about a half hour of it. So almost. Give me a minute here. I'm almost done, and we can go live momentarily. Let's make sure I got all my ducks in a row here. I think I got everything. Yep. Okay. So, uh, shit. Now this thing is saying error creating broadcast. I may have to figure this shit out on the fly. God damn it! I hate when it does this. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure this out on the fly, I guess, and maybe just go ahead and start the program on the other. Oh man, that's really bad. Let's see something here. All right, give me a minute. I gotta fix a tripod that just fell. So it's gonna take a little bit longer than I wanted it to take. So give me a minute while I go around it on the other side of my desk and put this tripod back up. I hate when I start doing this shit and something breaks. So it is what it is. Nothing like doing live TV where shit can go wrong. That's what this is. All right, this is live, so it is what it is. All right, let me see if I can get my tablet going because people actually, believe it or not, watch this shit on screen on the television as opposed to a tablet. So, um, what do I get in the comments? Show us your. Oh my God! What the hell did I? Mushroom tip. Oh my goodness! I see that comment in there from somebody named Mushroom Tip says, "Show us your mushroom tip." Wild shit. All right, and now this tablet is just acting funky as hell. Okay, we'll go ahead and start with the other streams, and I'll get that one going in the middle of the show. So, having said that, I'll go ahead and queue up everything that I need to. I'm like really unorganized this evening, but nevertheless, we're gonna make it happen. So, going live on TikTok in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. A host of topics to talk about as always. Today's been an interesting day, mainly because I'm going to ask this question, mainly because of the stock market. Now, President Trump promised to do a hell of a lot of things on quote unquote day one. Now we know day one is long since come and went. Day one is long. I mean, he's working on what January 20th. So as of March 20th, he's in there for 2 months. So he's 10 days away from 2 months. So he's on about day 50. So the point I want to make is this: you see on the screen behind me, they're talking about the fact that the stock market is down 900 points today. The Trump Canada tariff wars are continuing. You got Trump making threats as much as 250% tariffs on certain things coming out of Canada, which is wild. I don't know where to even go with that. But I'm going to ask you folks a simple question. How long before we get to the point where Trump's economy is better than Biden's economy? Because we don't seem to be anywhere near that. We're now in the Trump second month. Now I know Trump's only been around 2 months, and it seems crazy to be talking about, where is the fruits of your labor? But when you promise to do stuff on day one, you can't blame people for complaining why it hasn't been done. I mean, now all of a sudden he's in office, and all of the day one stuff is turned into get a man a few months to get the job done. That's not what he promised. So you're going to get people pushing back. But I want to ask you from a standpoint of how much play are you willing to give him on this? Because for many aspects, the economy is worse right now under Trump than it was under Biden. Egg prices and some grocery prices have actually went up. So, how much play are you willing to give Trump, who promised to correct things immediately, which he clearly did not do? Because he's suggesting that we should be prepared to take some short-term pain, I suppose, for in the grand scheme of things, things will get better. But he's not promising any day one stuff anymore. So what I'm asking, simply put, is how long before you start saying that this is not good? How long are you going to give them? I want to ask you folks. Obviously, the day one stuff is a pipe dream, but maybe you're giving them 3 months, maybe you're giving them 3 weeks, maybe you're giving them 6 months, maybe you're giving them a whole year. At what point, if the economy has not improved significantly better than what it was under Biden, which is what Trump promised, at what point do you start holding Trump accountable? I know a lot of folks believe what we're dealing with right now is the leftovers of the Biden economy. We can talk about that any way, fashion, or form. But with the tariffs and all of this stuff coming into effect, any damage from the tariffs, you can't blame that on Biden at all. Biden has nothing to do with that. But I'm asking, at what point does Trump become responsible for the economy? Because he didn't make it sound like we were going to have to sit and wait for months while things got turned around. He made it sound like he could do it on day one. I know a lot of my beloved MAGA will tell you right off the bat, you're a fucking idiot. If you ever thought somebody could fix the economy on day one, you should have knew that was not true. Fair enough, then that means he just blatantly lied and assumed that some people would vote for him because they wouldn't know it was true. Or that he must have just simply said whatever he thought he needed to say to get elected. Because he promised on day one. He promised on day one. So, you can't blame folks for holding him accountable for saying day one. Nobody made him say that. He said that on his own. And that's in addition to ending the Ukraine-Russian war, which is another 24-hour day one promise. So I do want to ask, that's one of our first questions we're going to be asking is, how long do you give him before you suggest that you promised us something and you did not deliver? At what point do you get to that stage where you say you promised us something and you did not deliver? Because he promised us a better economy. He promised to end the Russian-Ukraine war. At what point do you hold him accountable for promises made, promises failed in terms of delivery? So we'll talk about that. In addition to that, because we got 3 topics today. I also want to ask you folks, I think many of you folks, particularly my beloved MAGA once again, and you know we are MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We've been MAGA friendly since day one. That ain't going to change on this program. We'll never have a day where we're not MAGA friendly. We may have a difference of opinions, but you'll certainly always be able to speak your mind on the program. Renaming military bases back after perceived Confederate heroes, and I'm going to say perceived because everybody don't believe that General Lee and Stonewall Jackson and General Bragg and all of these folks are heroes, but a lot of people do. So Trump has, with Pete Hegseth, they are renaming bases back after Confederates that the Biden administration had changed. Fort Bragg had became Fort Liberty. Why am I bringing this up? There's an article from the Associated Press from 2022, Whereas they gave the numbers from the Naming Commission. That's a federal outfit. The Naming Commission. They estimated the total cost of renaming Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty was going to be $4.9 million between 2023 and 2024, something like that. $4.9 million. Take the name Fort Bragg is every damn where. Stationary, it's on doors, it's on highway signs, it is everywhere. $4.9 million to change it from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty, which is what the Biden administration did. That was 2022 estimates, 4.9 million. Now we're in 2025 now, and Trump is renaming Fort Liberty back to Fort Bragg. Now, there is a law in place that prevents him from naming Fort Bragg, or there's a law in place that prevents renaming bases or anything at the Confederates. When the Biden administration stopped this, they also put into law, preventing you from naming bases back at the Confederates. So clearly they knew what the right might try to do. They actually passed a law preventing you from naming bases back to Confederate. It's crazy to be naming bases after somebody from the Civil War. I mean, that's 1700s. So or 1800s, whatever. It's crazy to go back that far back. I mean, there has to be a reason. I mean, they're not naming bases after World War I, World War II, folks. They're going all the way back to the Civil War. But anyway, they passed a law preventing that from happening. So to get around that law, they didn't name the base after Fort Bragg, the Confederate general. They found another Bragg that served in World War I believe, or World War II it is. A private, just a regular private. Anyway, they named the base back Fort Bragg. The reason I'm bringing this up is we're terminating a hell of a lot of Americans. All throughout the federal government, Americans are getting fired in regards to waste, fraud, and abuse. They're firing people everywhere. But yet we're spending a few $1 million to rename a base back after a Confederate soldier. So I'm asking you folks right off the bat, can you explain, how does that make sense? That we're claiming there's so much waste, fraud, and abuse in this country that we got to fire everyday average working folks, people losing their homes, their apartments, kids in college, all of that, because they're being fired from their jobs. They're not all getting severance pay or any of that shit. Some people are just getting fired, period. We're doing that, claiming that we're trying to cut back on spending, but we have millions of dollars to rename bases back after Confederate generals. And by the way, Fort Bragg is not the only one. Fort Benning they're going to rename back, and Hegseth has stated there's several bases they're going to rename again. Also would apply to Black Lives Matter Lane or Black Lives Matter Way, whatever the hell that was called in DC. Parkway, something like that. It was named after Black Lives Matter. And Trump has ordered that also be renamed. And they're in the process of tearing all of that shit down right now. Now, we can have the argument that it never should have been named Black Lives Matter Plaza or whatever it's called to begin with. We can certainly entertain that because that was done to stick it to Trump, period. That's why they did that. The mayor of D.C. done that to stick it to Trump. And Trump is literally doing the exact same thing in reverse. He's doing it to stick it to the liberals. I get it. I understand how the system works, how the game works. But I'm asking this question because under Trump, we're claiming we don't have a lot of money. We're claiming that we're trying to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. So playing a game of revenge to return serve to the liberals while you're in the process of firing Americans, I want to know, how does that work? Because that doesn't seem logical to me, but maybe you have a difference of opinion. So we'll talk about that. And last but not least, I don't know if you guys have heard about this third topic. We're talking about an immigrant that went to Columbia University. Mahmoud, I don't know the guy's full name, but he's obviously a Muslim. He was protesting on behalf of the Palestinians and Hamas. Pro-Hamas, in favor of them. Passing around pamphlets and things like that in favor of that group. Well, Trump's administration has caught up to him. Now, they've demanded that he be arrested, which he was arrested today, and they want to deport him. Now, I know my MAGA side of the aisle is going to really love this one. Fair enough, and we'll talk about it. But I do want to ask you folks from this standpoint, should immigrants that come to this country have less rights than Americans? Should an immigrant that comes to America have less rights, constitutional rights, than Americans? Legal immigrants. We're not talking about illegals. We're not talking about illegals. That's a different conversation. We're talking about legal immigrants that come to this country. Should they have less constitutional rights than an American that's born here? Because this guy that they deported not only came on a student visa, but he has successfully obtained a green card. So he has residency in America. So why am I bringing up having less rights? Because everything he's accused of doing that has led to Trump's administration deporting him, as an American, you could do all of that and face zero penalties, zero discipline at all. He's pro-Hamas. He's pro-Palestine. I get the notion that this group is a terror outfit. But how many Americans in this country support the Third Reich, holding signs out over highways and everything? They don't go to jail. They don't get punished at all. You have a First Amendment right. If you like Adolf, you can walk down the street and wave flags and everything of Adolf. So why is it that if he's waving flags of this group in Gaza, why is he getting deported? Now, they didn't charge him with any crime at all. So for you folks who might say, well, he did something extra, he wasn't charged with any crime at all. He didn't commit any crime at all. They're getting him simply because he supports a terror outfit is what they're claiming. So I'm asking, simply put, do immigrants have less constitutional rights, or should immigrants have less constitutional rights than an American? Because as I just stated, an American can do exactly what he did and face no punishment or penalty at all. So those are our topics. As always, you know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having a dinner with Q. Feel free to speak up. In the comments, real quick, going to the comments, Gen X says, didn't commit any crime yet. Exactly. He hasn't done anything, so why is he getting deported? You can't deport somebody proactively, I think, in the future. You're going to commit a crime, so you deport it now. You don't do that to Americans, so why is he getting deported? Do immigrants have less rights than an American citizen? An immigrant with residency, by the way. He's not here on a visa. He's not going through the process. He is legally here. He has a green card, and they're going to deport him anyway, even though he has committed no crime. How does that work? Now, he's taking him to court, in my opinion, and I want to hear your opinion, because mine is obviously he should prevail. I don't know how they do this, where you get you don't get a First Amendment free speech right because you're an immigrant. Let me know in the comments. So going straight to the box, less rights than an American. Top Dog. Good evening, one of my subscribers who always get first digs. Top Dog, good evening, welcome to the show.
What's up, Tim?
Not much at all. Did you hear about this guy getting deported?
No, I did. I just heard from when you just brought it up. No, I haven't heard about it, but my opinion on it, should he have less rights?
Right.
I'll say this: he shouldn't. If he's coming over here to a college, he's spilling hate, Tim, and he's an immigrant. Yeah, I'll say get his ass up out of here. Excuse my language.
If
you're coming over and you're stirring up hate, because everybody know Hamas what they just done over there, and you're coming to a college and you're spewing up hate, and you're an immigrant, yeah, get your ass out of here.
But then
you're starting problems.
But then the obvious follow-up is, where do we draw the line? I mean, anybody could deem what you're doing as starting hate, and you may be in favor of something totally different. You may be out there supporting Trump, and some liberal president may say that alone is starting hate. Where do you draw the line at? How do you dictate what is considered starting hate?
I mean, it would have to be almost like a case-by-case basis, Tim. Just be honest with you. It would have to be a case by. I know they can't do a case by case, but it would have to be case by case. It was somebody doing something less than what he's doing. No, I don't think they should get deported. But if you're an immigrant, and you're lucky to be here because it's the best country to be in, and you over here and you're spewing up hate on the college grounds intentionally. I mean, you can lock him up, you can charge him, but I mean, I would
charge him with what? What crime of the American system has he violated? Because as I pointed out, an American can do exactly what he did and face no penalty at all. They would say, how many folks are hanging, swastikas from highways and shit, or walking down the streets of Nashville, waving a flag around? Nope, they don't get charged with anything. That's clearly promoting hate.
Well, in this situation, since the media is on it so bad and Trump's on it so bad, Tim, I'll say let him go to trial. He's probably going to take it to trial or something like that, and we'll go from there. Because if you go to trial, you know what's going to happen. You're still going to be convicted of it, or whatever situation it may be.
Convicted of what, though? What is the crime? Because, like I said, if an American can do it, remember, they didn't charge him with anything. They just deported him. They just arrested him, and he's now set for deportation. He's not charged with committing any crime because I don't know what crime he would have committed.
Well, right now they're just showing you what the power that the Trump administration have right now. They showing you we don't even have to charge you. We don't even have to run you through the court system, give you your due process, and none of them things. We can just go ahead and get you up out of here. So I mean, you
did just say you agree with that, though. You agree that they should be able to kick him out with no crime being committed.
I mean, in that situation, yeah, I would say I would vote yes in this particular situation. Yeah, get him up out of here. We already got too much hate going on, and you're intentionally going to a college spewing up hate. So yeah, get him up out of here.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't have no problem with it.
What's your definition of spewing up hate is what I'm confused, because many folks believe that Israel has indeed went way too far in regards to retaliating for October 7th. They took out 1,000, I believe a little bit over 1,000 Israelis on that day, and Israel's probably getting close to 100,000 in response, and they still are hitting them when there's no real danger. They're well beyond self-defense at this point. I mean, do they have, because of what happened on October 7th, does that give Israel the right to wipe out the Palestinian people entirely?
No, I don't give them the right. This is what it would go down to with this particular situation, Tim. I would have to get more details on the situation. What was he particularly doing? If he was intentionally spilling hate, or if he just passing messages and just talking positive or whatever it may be, maybe not. But if I look at the paperwork and look at the evidence and he's spewing hate on a college campus, I'll say get him up out of here. Go.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I guess so. I guess just to get clarity, so you do believe that immigrants should have less in terms of First Amendment rights than an American citizen? Because, like I said, an American citizen can do that and not face any disciplinary action at all. But you want him deported.
I mean, honestly, Tim, yeah. I mean, I feel like if you're an immigrant, it's just like if you're an immigrant and you commit a felony, they're usually going to deport you. So, I mean, this is not the same. It's not a felony.
Well, but you got to commit an actual crime. In this case, we're talking about just simply the Bill of Rights. We're saying he does not have the same right to protest that Americans do. He hasn't committed any crime according to our Constitution. The only thing he's done is protested for a cause that we don't like. That's it. He hasn't done anything else.
I mean, like I say, Tim, once again, Trump, he got control right now. I mean, who's going to stop him?
Well,
who's going to stop him? But what I came up for, Tim, is about when you talked about those military bases. But I served 7 years in the Army. I was at Fort Campbell. I've been to Fort Bragg. I wasn't stationed there, but I stopped through there before. I've been to Fort Jackson, Fort Benning. I mean, I've been a bunch of them. I was there like 7 years. And what they're doing right now with the naming of these, I don't see a problem with it, Tim. I think I prefer them. They're not naming it back after a general. They're naming it after a private.
Yeah, but you know what they're doing. I mean, they went and found people that had the same name. I mean, Fort Bragg was named after a Confederate general. So they can't name it back after a Confederate. So they go find a private that served in World War II. That you talk about lacking merit. The guy they named this base after is a private. He hasn't any major accomplishments. How the hell does he get a whole base named after him?
I'm gonna tell you why, Tim. If you was in the military, you know the prestiges of the 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Bragg, and name it to Fort Liberty. it just don't ring the same, Tim. It's not the same. Fort Liberty and Fort Bragg, you wouldn't think those were the same places.
Why you know what changed other than the name?
The name.
That's
there
it.
You go, right there. Yeah, just the name, right? Exactly. Instead of me calling this place Fort Bragg, we're calling it Fort Liberty. To me, that sounds kind of soft. I don't like it at all. I like Fort Bragg. So no, you ask me, you're gonna say the same thing.
So you feel better. You feel better as a soldier serving at Fort Bragg than Fort Liberty.
Well, just being a part of that organization, hell yeah, I'd rather say I'm from Fort Bragg. If I say I'm from Fort Bragg to somebody that retired in the early 2000s, I say I was at Fort Liberty. They wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking about.
How do you feel knowing that knowing that General Bragg used to own people like you, used to enslave and oppress people like you?
The thing about that is, Tim, that's why I say I don't have a problem with it renaming it after a private Bragg.
So you do have a problem with it originally being named after, slave-owning generals, though?
Yes, sir. Totally, Tim. Hell yeah.
So you favor the name change. You just don't like what they changed it to.
I mean, if you would have gave it something more prestigious, more dominant, maybe so. But if you know where 82nd, that's where all your special forces come out of there. All those big names come out. All those organizations come out. A lot of them come out of 82nd Airborne Division. I just feel like the name Fort Liberty just don't ring like Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg is a prestigious. It's one of the top army military bases.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't when they first named it. I mean, it takes time to get used to the name. I mean, you happen to be alive when they made the name change, so it's taking time to settle in with you. But generations in the future are not likely to have your mindset about I like Fort Bragg because they will have never heard of it. You just you're an old dog trying to be taught new tricks.
Well, even what you just said, even with the new generation, if once they Google it and say what is Fort Bragg named after, it's going to pop up this new private situation. Yeah, they're going to probably touch on the Confederate general, but they're going to talk about this private right here and give him recognition.
Let me ask you in regards to that. Now, I get you don't like the softness of Fort Liberty. When Biden changed the name from a slave owner, do you think he did the right thing?
For sure. For sure. I got an army buddy. He tried to argue me. He didn't like they were switching the name to Liberty to Liberty. And I told him, I said, well, those generals you're talking about, my friend, he called himself a nationalist. So I said, well, those generals you're talking about, they went against the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So how can you? And once I broke it down to him like that, he changed his whole vibe on it. Those same people you saying that you like, they went against the government that you love.
Now, Quick Short in the comments asked a great question. He says, what is more powerful than liberty? I mean, which is a great question. You're talking about liberty sounds soft. What is more powerful than what you're actually fighting for? Or trying to preserve, trying to protect?
I'll say it again, Tim. I prefer the Fort Bragg over Liberty. I understand where they're going with it. I understand what the question you're asking, but I prefer, as just me being in the military, being at those places, dealing with those names, I like those names. Right. I don't like.
But speaking of liking names, and Dencal, thank you for your support. Speaking of liking names, the Gulf of America, what say you?
That was, to me, that was one of the dumbest things Trump could have done. But honestly, Tim, it's the dumbest shit, but I don't care about that. That's not like when I wake up in the morning, I don't think about the Gulf of Mexico and why they switched the name. To me, Trump was just being petty on that one.
Yeah.
He's just being petty. A lot of people not waking up upset about the Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico.
Well, I would assume there's a few folks down there that's got to change the name of their business and things like that. There's going to be highway signs. There's a lot of things that do got to be changed. I would assume by going from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, just like with changing the name of these military bases, that's going to amount to millions of dollars because there are signs all over streets and highways telling you the Gulf of America is, this many. Yeah, all of that's got to be changed. That stuff's going to cost a fortune. Go ahead.
Well, once again, it's Trump. He spend money where he want to spend money on. Of course, he's talking about we're trying to save money, but like you said, each base costs $4 million. That we're talking over probably $100 and $200 million to get all the military bases switched over.
Yeah, I don't even know how many bases they're trying to rename in total. I don't even know, but we know Benning and Bragg are two of them. And what about the whole Black Lives Matter Plaza in D.C.?
It don't bother me. I stay in Oklahoma, Tim. So that what they do that's small right now. What I'm worried about, your first subject is lowering these prices. You know, I mean, I went to the grocery store, and I think I grabbed 3-4 little items. I was at like $27, $20, $30. It's a little small, you know. So I'm not really worried about the street up there in DC. You know, I'm just worried about let's get these prices down. Like he said, day one. That's what he said, Tim. Day one. If he would have never said it, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm going to hold you accountable from day one, like you said. I'm not going to give you 6 months, a year, 4. No, you said day one, boss. So, since you said day one, I'm going to hold you accountable for it day one. And you say, well, we're going on about 2 months, Tim. If Trump has not came out on that media and said this right here, Tim, I did this, and this to lower your gas prices. I did this, right here to lower your food prices. So, he's not worried about that, Tim. He's not worried about it. He have no politician on the Republican side came out and said, I did this, and this to try to lower these prices. So at this point, what I believe, Tim, I don't believe the prices are going to go down. Maybe gas prices will fluctuate, something like that, but I don't believe the egg prices are going to go back down where they were before COVID.
So you don't think Trump's going to deliver on his improved economy promise at all?
Well, what I don't understand, Tim, is if all the smart heads telling him these tariffs is not working. It's damn near about to take us into a recession in another couple of months, within 12 months. I don't understand. He think either two things, Tim. It's real simple. Either Trump is a dumbass or he's a fucking genius. We gonna know within a year or so.
All right, fair enough. I got to move it on, but I'm assuming, Top Dog, a lot of MAGA's gonna say he's a fucking genius. Appreciate your service. Thanks for coming through, man. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. That is indeed the one and only Top Dog. I wanted to, I don't know if I can get my damn device working here. There's a clip I wanted to run by you folks because this does say it all. To be less than 2 months into the Trump administration, for our economy to be going in this direction. Trade war. I don't know what's going on with my damn volume there, but we'll make it work some way, somehow, before we go to the next caller.
Here, the trade war heating up between U.S. and Canada in retaliation to President Trump's tariffs. Canadian officials are announcing a move today that will force many Americans to pay higher energy costs. At a press conference, Ottawa Premier Doug Ford announced a 25% surcharge on electricity exports. This surcharge will affect electricity sales for 1.5 million homes and businesses across Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. In total, it could cost up to about $400,000 per day. But
well, the good thing is most of those are liberal states, so I guess Trump won't care about them as much.
Also said that he will not hesitate to shut the electricity off completely if the situation with the U.S. escalates.
And Dan, that trade war taking a big bite out of markets. The sell-off continues. Markets closed at the top of the hour. And take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, down almost 900 points. It did rally back in the last hour or so when the Dow was down almost 1,100 points. That's not the biggest drop, though, on Wall Street. Take a look at the NASDAQ, down 4% in today's trading, and the S&P 500 down more than 2.5%. A lot of concerns about the possibility of a recession, and that's something that President Trump did not rule out this weekend. In an interview with Fox News, he was asked about the possibility of recession, and he called it a period of transition that the economy is going through right now.
Okay. Good or bad? Why do you think in the economy is good or bad? Do you think the economy, now that Trump's taken over the economy, do you think this will ultimately end up going in a direction that's good, or do you think under Trump things will get worse if not bad? I'd like to see what because he's only been in for a little bit less than 2 months. Is it possible there's going to be a slight dip and then all of a sudden things will get great under Trump? Good or bad? What direction you think the economy is headed in now that Trump is in control at the reins? Because it's only been 2 months. It ain't day one. The day one thing was a complete failure. We get it. But it's only been 2 months since he's been in there. So we'll talk about that. All right, going to the next caller, by the way, and tap the screen. I have not asked that at all. For my TikTok viewers, feel free to tap the screen. If you're watching on YouTube live, YouTube horizontal, YouTube vertical, feel free to smash that like button. We're here Monday through Friday. We are an uncensored program. We don't block or censor anybody. We are MAGA friendly. So if you favor civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, I'm going to ask that you subscribe and follow if you're on Instagram or TikTok. Going back to the box, we'll bring up the one and only Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. Now, Dencal, I'm assuming, now you're in Navy, so I don't know if you've been by Fort Bragg, but how do you feel about certain bases having certain names, Dencal?
Well, I personally, I live down the street from a base that was renamed. It was Fort Gordon. It's been now changed to the name of Fort Eisenhower.
Mm. Who was? Do you know who was Gordon? What was? I mean, you're in the South.
He was a Confederate general. Yeah, he was a slave owner. Yeah, all of that. They changed the name because of who he was.
Okay. Any idea who the new person they named that there is?
Eisenhower.
Oh, the president. Okay. So, any idea if they're planning on renaming it back?
I think they'd have a lot of pushback trying to change Eisenhower. But I totally disagree with Top Dog about that. You know, the name sounds tougher and all that. That's bullshit.
It was a bit interesting to hear him say that. I mean, he doesn't sound unreasonable outside of that. That just sounded a bit interesting to hear him say. That doesn't have the same ring.
But on one hand, to say he understands why they changed it, and he thinks that Biden was right for changing it because it represented slave owners, and then turn around and say, well, I don't really care because the name sounds tougher. Like, Bragg does not sound tough. What the hell does Bragg have to do with sounding tough?
Well, maybe because of his life experience at the base, he went through some tough times or something, and maybe some kind of machismo or something like that. It might be something directly related to how his own experience there. I mean, let's say, for instance, you go through Bud's training to become a Navy SEAL, and you do that on Cinderella Beach. That's a tough ass beach to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they call it. Cinderella Beach. It's gonna be tough as hell to you. So you get what I'm saying? So maybe he.
No, I don't. I don't get that. If they messed around and told us that Cinderella, happened to be a serial killer, and they wanted to change the name, then I wouldn't be like, nah.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, I get not wanting to go back to the name for its own historical context, but I'm just simply saying, you'd be like, damn, Cinderella was a beast. That was a beast to spend a week there going through that shit. I don't want nothing to do with Cinderella again. But I get what you're saying. If the actual person is named after was a monster, I understand that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I don't have no problem with like they got Trump out here trying to reverse the names of like Barack Obama Drive and stuff like that. Like
is he really doing that?
Person. Yeah.
He's trying to reverse something named after his predecessor or after a president.
Yes.
And you really think they're going to have a hard time renaming the base near you that's named after Eisenhower? If he's doing after Obama, damn.
I mean, Eisenhower, I think he was a Republican, right? He was not.
I can't even mention. I mean, because back in them days, a Republican meant something different.
Right, but I mean, for me, like serving on a base doesn't necessarily. I don't necessarily, just like he said, I've been to numerous bases. I don't attach my success or the country's success on the name of the post or the base I was on. I don't think no, leave it that because it makes me feel good about what I did on the base. No, that has nothing to do with anything. If the country's trying to do the right thing by ridding itself of this ugly, nasty, murderous history, I'm all for it.
I think that's where the issue is. I don't think a lot of particularly modern right-wing Americans do not believe renaming things away from Confederate names and soldiers is doing the right thing. They call it erasing history.
Right, but those were traitors.
Yeah.
I don't care if they were history. Yes, those people should remain in museums and in history books, but not in they should not be named for our institutions that we stand for now. We should understand. No, those people did not believe in the same values that we do now.
No, they think they were patriots. So they probably, I mean, listen, if you can look at the protesters on January 6th and say they're patriots, I'm sure they have nothing but the fondest review for those that were in the Confederate South. They view them differently.
Right, but that's not the majority of Americans that feel like that. You're talking about the MAGA base feel that way. A lot of MAGA people don't even approve of what happened on January 6th, or those people who committed those crimes. Even they agree with that. Now, of course, they're going to agree with what Trump does about that, but they don't agree with those people.
Right. Yeah.
We don't think those people that, the Oath Keepers should, we should name, a Navy ship after the Oath Keepers now because...
USS Oath Keeper?
Sounds cool.
Forward, yeah, oh my God, Proud Boys Forward Base or something. Jesus Christ! I mean, well, hey, listen, we're in a different age. So when you mentioned renaming a street that was named after Obama, now I'm not aware of that. Why do you think he would do something like that?
You gotta ask Maggie that, man. We already pretty familiar. I'm not the person you should be asking that because everybody probably knows of me knows that it's all because of his hatred or whatever he feels about Barack Obama.
How can we call liberals, suggest that liberals have Trump derangement syndrome when he's doing stuff like that? Liberals just hate this guy. I don't get it. They got derangement syndrome. He's renaming streets. I mean, like, God damn, really?
A city or a mayor decides with the backing of his community that it should be Black Lives Matter Boulevard, and then the president comes in and puts pressure on the mayor and says, we're going to not give you funding for whatever to make them do it. Like, our government should not be used to strong arm people into their way of thinking. We got.
He definitely is using the federal coffers to strong arm. I mean, he definitely is doing that. He's using that for everybody that doesn't do what he wants, does not follow the agenda. We're going to cut off. I mean, that's what he did to Colombia with this guy they're deporting. We talking about. Told him that we're not going to give you federal funding. He's going all over the place. If you got DEI over here, if you're celebrating Black history over there, we're going to take away your federal funding. He is absolutely using the federal funding as a weapon.
Right. I mean, and telling prosecutors across the country that happen to be, progressive or democratic, that he's removing Bragg's security clearance and, taking away Secret Service protection from people who have been in government. That is sick, man. That's some sick shit, man.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's very similar to Europe, where they're now realizing we got to put ourselves in a position where we're not so dependent on the United States. I think what he's going to also end up doing is putting U.S. states in a position where they're going to have to say, we need to figure out a way not to be so dependent on the federal government. Because if we rely on him, and he can just, just make up a reason why he's not going to help you anymore. Like I brought up yesterday, where the Californians are dealing with wildfires, and he's like, well, you hold elections without IDs, so we're not going to send you any money. Like, what the hell does that got to do with this? So you don't know what he may use as a reason to deny you federal funding.
And he could just make it up on the fly.
Yeah, which is what he did with California.
What he's doing with Canada right now. And I believe, and look, I'm all for America. I'm down with it. I gave up almost 30 years of service to this country. But Canada is doing the exact right thing. They said, we're not playing this game with you. You can't, we're not doing this where you're going to remove the tariffs on cars and then we're going to remove the tariffs on lumber. No, we're not doing that. We putting a 25% tariff on y'all ass.
I heard Trump has indicated that you said on your ass. I heard that Trump has indicated, I don't know what particular item or product, but he was talking about imposing tariffs as high as 250%.
On lumber, yeah.
You wouldn't be able to build a fucking house. Every new house being built would have to be out of steel. Like nobody would not be. You're sitting on chairs. Everything's built out of steel.
No, because he's got a big ass tariff on steel too, because he wants to bring back steel production to this country. We don't have the infrastructure to replace that stuff in this country. Well, if you want to do something like that, you first build up the infrastructure, then you start doing that. You don't do that and say we're gonna bring production to America back, because first of all, none of these companies feel comfortable investing billions of dollars to recreate a dang on infrastructure when the next president or the next administration is going to go back, you know what I'm saying, and say it's cheaper for us to purchase this stuff overseas.
Yeah. Let me ask you this in regards to, what the next administration may do after Trump. There's rumors out there. If you had to, let's look at percentages from 0 to 100%. What do you estimate in regards to the chance that there will be a next administration? 100% chance. 100% chance.
There'll be a next administration. Now, how that goes about?
Because, by traditional means, where you have an election, a smooth transition of power.
I would say, smooth transition. Nobody can, because we know Trump will not give up either way smoothly. But through traditional means, like we're going to have a vote, and I would say probably, 60-40. I believe that we will have a transition of power, because he's doing so much bad stuff right now that there's going to be a shift in this country.
I'm not hearing MAGA complain at all. In fact, while you're speaking, I got, what is his name? Shelley says, America first. I'm willing to take pain so my children can live better. So a lot of MAGA agree with that. That listen, a few things are going wrong right now, but I don't have to worry about transgender shit being shoved down my kids' throat. I don't have to worry about, anti-Christianity. Some folks are okay with what's going on right now.
Right, but that when you say some people, those are not the majority. That person is probably MAGA to the core, and I get it. They're going to say that. But the people who determine the elections in America are the independents, are the people in the middle. And the people in the middle that got sucked into this from day one, I'm going to do this, and day one, those are the people. Remember, they said like 60% of the country lives paycheck to paycheck and couldn't afford a serious emergency in their house.
Right.
Well, when they can't really afford groceries, they said they couldn't afford groceries before. When they really can't afford groceries,
then they'll blame Biden.
You will blame the person that's standing in front of you saying that I'm going to change all of that shit.
Well, the person standing before you would say, when I made that promise, I didn't know Biden was going to do X. Isn't this exactly what he said? In regards to ending the Ukraine war in 24 hours, he said, I would have been able to do that if Biden had not stepped up the weapons given to Ukraine. So just come up with a reason why my promise wasn't delivered.
That's not how independents think. They are not ideological stuck like you're saying. Right. These MAGA people are. They're not going to just go along with it because he said so. Remember, those same independents left Trump when Biden says, I'm going to get you guys back to normal. They all said, fuck that dude. They went to Biden. And then when at the end, when his messaging wasn't strong enough to show them that their lives had improved at all, they shifted to Trump. And the independents will have no problem shifting back to something else, because if that shit doesn't happen, he promised a lot of people a lot of shit.
Well, then
all of those people wasn't MAGA, because MAGA would accept anything he says.
Anything?
Anything.
Well,
matter of fact, I got a couple things that I just want to reiterate. Things that Donald Trump told us, the gas would be under $2 shortly after he was president.
I could go for some mean tweets and $2 gas. I remember that.
Lower grocery prices.
I remember that.
50% decrease in your car insurance. He said insurance was way too high in America.
50%?
That's what he said. Landlords will start to reduce prices. Home prices will go down. We will have sub 3% interest rates shortly after I'm in office. No tax on Social Security. No tax on tips.
Yeah, he did say
that.
No
tax on overtime. End of the Ukraine war in January. End of the conflict in Israel immediately. I know these people. I can call them and end the war on day one.
I need this fucking list. I need that list bad.
Yeah, I've been telling you this for about 6 months. You
I
make
need
a list
that
and start
list.
talking about you when you get on here and start talking about promises made, promises kept. We need to keep track of what he said and not allow these MAGA people to just change their position mid-flight and say, oh, we did ask for them to invade Greenland. Oh, we did ask for them to take the Panama Canal. Yes, that's exactly what we wanted him to do. We wanted him to raise prices on us because that's what they're saying now.
I haven't heard that.
You just heard the lady say I'm good with suffering.
Well, she said she's willing. Yeah, I guess you're right now, man.
I'm good to suffer. She wasn't saying that shit 2 months ago. I guarantee you.
That is true. That is Jesus Christ. You know, when they say flood the zone, he throws so much shit at you. It's hard to keep track. Because you're right. I guarantee no MAGA would say they were willing to suffer a little bit more. They all expected Trump to get in there and things were going to start getting better. So
exactly. And we know that. So they can't gaslight me right now and tell me they knew it was going to take some time because none of them was saying it. They was like, he knows how to fix the economy because he did it the first time. Now he's doing something totally different than he did the first time. And instead of saying, damn, he lying about what he said. They're going to say, well, we knew he couldn't do none of the stuff he said. Well, then why the hell was we having all them damn arguments for goddamn a year about what the fuck he could do and what he would do to just turn around on the opposite end and then we say, we told you he couldn't do it. Well, everybody knew. No, everybody didn't know.
And that's what I get all the time. I'm getting people who are telling me, you liberals are an idiot. If you believe somebody could do this on day one, you shouldn't have. I'm like, well, he said it. Like, how is it wrong to take the man at what he says? He gave his word he could do it. It's wrong to believe him? I mean,
man,
yeah.
You could go back to some of your YouTube videos and make a mashup, man, and just destroy Gen X, MAGA Reacts, the Texas Mom or whatever. All of them was on here saying the same shit. And now they on here talking about we stupid if we ever believed. Because we never believed he was going to be able to do it. They was the ones. But they saying we stupid if we ever believed that they believe.
Well, you gotta give Trump credit. He's a good salesman. I mean, he's a good salesman.
Then you going and giving him credit. You can't be giving him a credit for being a liar and a criminal, dude.
Well, if you tell a lie and it results in you getting a sale, I mean, you got the sale. I mean, that's what he did. He got the sale, right?
Yeah. Hey, before I go though, I wanted to mention one thing about the people on here because I like to drop some jewels in here, occasionally for the MAGA people to listen to. And they talking about when he wasn't trying to fire none of the air traffic controllers, he wasn't messing with.
Yeah, they've already it leaked out that he was telling them to do and it was complaining they didn't fire enough of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But what they're not telling you is the people that they were firing were the people who were the aeronautical information specialists. Now, those are the people who input all of the information into the computers that the air traffic controllers use to do their job. Now, if you get rid of all the support people who put all of the proper information into the computers,
you put more work on the people that are there.
Air traffic controller is if he got bad data coming to him through the screen. So people are missing the forest through the trees because they believe in this shit he's saying, and all they're trying to do is destroy our fucking economy.
I'll tell you something. If for some reason the liberals win in the midterms, because people are already talking about they might try to impeach Trump, if they can tie him to some of those plane crashes through some of that shit, there's your avenue to impeach him right there. I mean,
well, good luck on that. When they replaced all of the upper management in the FAA, they replaced them with all Trump loyalists. They fired all of the people who give a damn. They fired the damn inspector general. So
yeah, if all of a sudden people did not have to fear being fired and did not have to fear being Trump, even the people that Trump put in there, the loyalists, the people below them, you would start having whistleblowers. Right now, they're scared to speak out. But if all of a sudden,
after the midterms, maybe?
Yeah,
I can definitely see the midterms being a big shifting point in this country.
Yeah, because if Congress and the Senate or one of them ends up going Democrat, and they can ensure folks that are whistleblowers that you can speak out without Trump firing you, you're going to have people speaking out because people have lost their friends. People don't have, their workloads are getting doubled and tripled. Elon Musk has got to be the world's worst employer, constantly threatening to fire people. There is no love from federal employees right now with this administration because they're treating them like shit. So if all of a sudden the liberals get the midterms, you're going to have no shortage of federal employees willing to speak out.
Right. So, right. I mean, this stuff is crazy. And, one more thing, the stuff they was talking about, the economy, like this crash, all of this stock market and stuff. And trust me, I've lost a ton. And when I say a ton, I mean tens of thousands of dollars in the last week.
Damn.
Over the stock market. And I did have money invested in Tesla and all of that stuff. But that kind of stuff becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, people think he can just turn the economy on and off on a dime like that, and you can't do the whole American economy like that because the American economy likes stability. Now, if you keep coming out and telling people, that everybody's broke, people are gonna stop spending money. Like me, I quit. I don't go out and I buy essentials. That's right. What I buy now. I don't go out and buy extra stuff. I was thinking about buying me a real expensive watch and all that kind of. I'm not doing none of that stuff. But I did. I told you a couple months ago, I went out and bought me a new computer, remember?
Yes.
I said, because the tariff stuff, and I'm glad I did. I went out and bought
they've already indicated, I believe in a week or so, because of the tariffs on China, that the computers and electronics are about to go up. So, bad shit, man. Bad shit. I got to move it on, Denkel.
So I don't see everything just turning around because everybody just agrees with his tariffs, because now countries like Canada and Mexico, did you see the parade they had for the Mexican, the president and stuff?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like a couple of days ago, because she resisted the Trump tariffs, and they had a big parade for her.
Claudine
she was standing up there, and they were like, "You stood up to the American president." Oh yeah.
It's also helping Trudeau in Canada too, because the country is uniting to fight back against Trump. So Trudeau, who's going to resign, his poll numbers are going up.
He did already. The new prime minister stepped in yesterday, and he had a big speech. And he said, "We're not going to fucking let America bully us."
Never thought we'd be here, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Take care.
Good talk. All right, moving on with the program right away. Maxwell Smart says liberals are the same as Chicken Little. I know the story of Chicken Little. How are liberals the same as Chicken Little, Maxwell Smart? You got to explain that. Before I continue with the program, I want to make sure I get the super chat. Quickso says, MAGA says he keeps his word. And that's true. They do believe that when Trump makes a promise, he keeps it. But, I mean, like what my last caller was pointing out, you can't be bragging about he keeping his word when you are noticing it in your particular portfolio. Like Tesla, for instance, I don't think that's going to bounce back, because Elon is so toxic right now. So many folks are boycotting the Tesla products. I don't think if you got investments in Tesla, like unfortunately my last caller said he did, I doubt if that bounces back anytime soon. Certainly with Elon Musk continuing to revel in cruelty, so to speak, firing people, and then he's on stage with chainsaws and shit celebrating it. Pop Onaya Shelley, appreciate the friend of the program. Thank you. I think this says Pop Onaya. Appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Yeah, I doubt if Tesla rebounds. now Starlink or SpaceX because they may get government maybe. I mean, I guess Tesla could get a government contract, but a lot of that's consumer purchasing. I don't think Tesla's going to come back. And like my last call also pointed out, because of the volatility, the unpredictability of Trump, if a lot of folks don't feel comfortable investing, spending, and making moves because Trump has shown he can change things at a whim. So do you really want to, take a dive into something when Trump may make a wild change or call an audible at a moment's notice? It's just you can't predict anything. He's too unpredictable. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, moving on with the program. U.S. is not a country. U.S. I can, if you would like me to elaborate, I will. What do you mean by U.S. is not a country? I do not understand what you're saying there on Instagram. We'll continue on real quick with Texas. Everything's bigger down there, apparently. Good evening, Texas. Appreciate the TikTok cap there. Thank you, PM. That's a stop.
What's going on, Tim?
Not much at all. So we're in the second month of the Trump administration. They're talking about the economy right now it's going south. Do you see Trump as repairing this and getting us in a better position than Biden had us in anytime soon?
Well, I don't know if you remember our conversation before he was elected, and we talked about this, and I said it's going to be a little while. There's going to be pain before, and you were like, I don't want to experience any more pain.
Then wait. If what you're saying is true, then why is he saying day one? Is he lying?
That's what I was talking about. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. I don't know if it was like all his, constituents telling him, hey, look, this poll's better when you say day one. I don't know. I don't understand the reason behind it.
Did he not?
If anybody understands anything with tariffs, you're not going to see results in the short term. You'll see results in the long term, but not in the short term.
Do you think he knows what you're talking about? Do you think he knows how tariffs work?
Yeah, I do. That's why it had to have been something with his campaign saying, hey, day one poll's good or something.
So if he knows how tariffs work, but he's telling people day one, you're admitting that he's essentially just lying to get elected.
Yeah, just to swing those votes, right? What poll's good? Anybody's going to do it now.
Not if you're if you're not a typical politician, if you shoot straight from the hip, you call it like you see it. That don't sound like you're the kind of guy who would be willing to lie to get your way. You're making it sound like he's nothing more than a typical politician.
Well, I think you have to do typical political stuff to get elected as president. He's going to say his talking points and talk to his base, and do what he has to do to swing those votes. What the Republican Party needs to be focused on is, like the midterms. You're not going to carry your slim majority through the midterms if something doesn't come to light to those voters you swung to your side. You know what I mean? And results speak. Nothing else is going to speak but results.
Yeah. So let's talk results. Yeah, let's talk results because you're giving an explanation for why he may have said on day one when it really had no chance of ever being on day one. Now Nicole Gooden in the comments has a pushback on it. She says some of you guys are willing to explain him taking a shit on your face, so you'll explain anything away. She says they will explain him taking a shit on their face. So, but what you're saying is.
He didn't take a shit on my face.
Well, he took a shit on your bank account. He's taking a shit on the stock market.
I mean, that's expected when you're going to have a trade war and tariffs, and there's going to be a lot of volatility in the market with that. You just have to expect that.
So you're telling me that when MAGA voted for Trump, they expected us to be where we are right now, where the price of eggs have went up.
I honestly don't know. I'm not a MAGA person, so I can't tell you what MAGA expected.
Did you expect it?
Did I expect? No, I didn't expect it.
So
I wanted fair trade, like what he was saying. I knew the meat and potatoes of what he was saying was fair trade.
Okay.
I didn't listen to anything else. I didn't buy the day one bullshit. You know what I mean? So I'm not being shit on because it didn't happen day one. I knew logically it wasn't going to happen day one. I don't know why he was saying it other than it was a good polling point. Like, hey, we poll higher when you say day one on things.
Fair enough.
Okay,
now, I will say this.
Say to get the votes.
Fair enough. Now, I will say this, though. if he was willing to say that, as you say, just to get the votes, it does lead one to wonder, what else did he say just to get the votes? Remember, he talked about ending the Ukraine-Russian war on day one as well. Is that something you would add in that category if he just lied about that too?
I don't think he lied about that. I think we're seeing more that he knew he should have been. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I feel like he should have been more open of his stance with Zelensky. I mean, he's dealt with him before. And I don't know, that whole thing with Zelensky seemed like a setup from the get-go.
A setup
like
how?
They knew how that day was going to go.
A setup how?
Yeah, they knew that it was going to end. I feel like Trump and everyone on his team knew that it was going to end that day with Zelensky leaving and nothing being done. And it's like, then
but that's but you're talking about the meeting at the White House. That's way beyond day one at that point anyway. That just happened like a week ago. That's way beyond day one.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the day one thing, it's I think all for polling. Like he just knew.
So he lied about ending the Ukraine war, just like he lied about the economy, just to get elected.
Well, I mean, he can't really end the Ukraine war.
But he said it.
Huh?
But he said it.
I mean, it's going to take everyone involved in that war to end it, right? I mean, Trump's not going to come in and end it. If you believe that, you believe it. I can't help if you believe that he was going to be the sole end to that war. That's not why I voted for him.
I understand that that's not why you voted for him. That makes sense. But you are admitting that he lied about at least two things right now. I'm sure if we keep talking, more will come out. But I
think he was over, confident with the Ukraine situation, really and truthfully.
You're telling me that you had to be crazy to believe he could end the Ukraine war in 24 hours as a citizen. But you're telling me he was overconfident. If I as a citizen should have knew he couldn't do it in 24 hours, shouldn't he as a president have known the same thing?
I mean, if he's got, he's a billionaire, he's got a big ego. I mean, who knows what people can tell him he can and cannot do.
I'm starting to picture that shit on somebody's face. You sound like you're explaining this away. It sounds like he lied and you're trying to avoid saying he lied.
I'm not trying to explain it away to him. It's just not an important topic to me. That's not what I voted for him for. So I don't know what you want me to stand up for him. I'm not going to stand up for him on it. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you, did I believe he was going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours or on day one? No, I didn't believe that. I believe he knew prior dealing with Zelensky before that him and Zelensky were going to butt heads on this and that it was going to take a lot longer. Why did he say day one? I don't know. The only thing I can come up with is that it helped him in the polls, and that's what he did it for.
And that makes sense, and that's what I was saying. So you are admitting that he lied just to get poll numbers. He lied to get elected about ending the Ukraine war.
Every politician lies to get elected. Every politician going to tell you something you want to hear just to get some votes. That's nothing new.
Yeah, but
Trump didn't invent that.
And I don't disagree with that. But it does make me question the whole notion that he's not a typical politician. He's going to drain the swamp. It sounds like he's doing exactly what everybody else doing. You're defending him, or not defending him, but you're explaining it by saying, well, he does what everybody else does, which is what we thought he was an outsider. Sounds very much like an insider to me.
Well, you got to play the game, right? I mean, he can't win an election running it like an outsider runs it. You have to run it like an insider. You got to play the game and do what politicians do to get elected. Doesn't mean he's going to run his administration like a regular politician. Doesn't mean he's going to conduct business. There's a lot of things that Trump has done to where he looks at it from a businessman's point of view and not a politician's point of view. And I think that's what his base stays true to him for and likes about him.
Yeah, but when you say
some people don't like about it.
But when you say he has to run it like a traditional politician, or he has to run it like the system, so when you say that though, like in the comments, Denkel rightfully points out, no other politician uses the phrase "day one." I don't recall Obama or George W. Bush, all winners, ever using "day one." So they didn't use that.
No, I mean every politician comes up with their own thing. I mean, what's one thing that every politician runs off of? Nothing. They all have their slogans and their sayings and their talking points that they run off of.
So he created a lie that's unique to him.
Off of hope, right? Did any other president say, "Hey, I'm gonna bring hope"? No one ran off that. That was Obama's.
Okay. So he created a lie that's unique to him. He didn't take everybody else's lie. He created his own.
Every politician has their own lies that they lie about.
All right,
I don't understand what we're going at here.
I'm trying to clarify the whole. He's not an insider. He's not a typical politician. He sounds exactly like that based on your responses.
I'm saying he ran an election like a politician. Yes, that doesn't mean he's going to run his administration like a politician. But do you want to focus on the election? I mean, that's already.
No, I'm focusing on the economy. I'm focusing on the economy based on what he told us versus what's actually happening.
Yeah. Well, what are you focusing on the economy? Because you're stuck on his day one stuff. So
because he told us the price of eggs would have come down, the price of groceries would have come down. They have not. So I'm going to bring up that he said he could do this stuff on day one, and we're not enjoying the fruits of that right now. That's why I'm tying all this in there. His campaign promises told us the suffering would have ended by now.
I mean, if that's what you believe, if that's what you vote him for, I can see why you're going to be upset. I didn't vote for him for lower egg prices. I knew there was a bird flu epidemic, and that it doesn't matter what Trump does, you're not going to increase the supply on a shortage because a bunch of egg-laying birds are dying. I mean, egg prices are going to be up because of that. Nothing anybody can do to change that.
So you must have been watching a lot of his rallies I
didn't hardly any of his rallies.
Okay, that makes sense because I'm thinking like when you heard him talk, you must have had all sorts of filters on where you knew how to bounce out things that you clearly are saying that were not true.
Listen to Trump talk. Because Trump likes to hear. I said it's hard to listen to Trump talk because Trump likes to hear himself talk. The man will say the same thing 5 times, 3 different ways. It's like shit. Shut up! You already said that. Move on.
So let me ask you this.
I told you before. I don't know if you've ever believed me, but this was the first time I actually voted for Trump. You know, and that's the God's honest truth. And has he done all of what he promised? No. And he's shooting not just himself in the foot, but the Republican Party in the foot.
How?
You know, because for the first time, and how long they've gotten, control of everything, the House and the Senate and the White House. I mean, so here's a prime opportunity to get what we need passed. And I mean, I hope and believe that he's still going to pass what I wanted him to pass, which is regulations on crypto. And that's what's most important. I mean,
you want him to pass regulations? He's usually for free market, less regulations. You want regulations from Trump?
Yeah, cryptocurrency needs regulation. Yeah, needs some regulation.
What sort of regulations are you hoping for
on crypto?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, see, like he created the Bitcoin reserve. You might have heard about that, right? Yeah, the strategic reserve for Bitcoin. So that's going to solidify Bitcoin as a security, right? Well, there's a lot of other cryptos out there that their utility and functionality isn't going to set them as a security, but more as a commodity. And there's going to, you don't need just the SEC with oversight over crypto. You see what I'm saying? You need other parts of the government with oversight on that.
And do you think this is something that Trump is likely? So this is really is there any other things that is this the primary reason you voted for Trump? Because I don't recall him talking about that much on the campaign trail. What other reasons might you have voted for Trump? You didn't vote for the ending the suffering on day one, the ending the Ukraine war is not that big of a deal. So what else did you vote for him for other than this?
No, that was it, crypto.
And he never promised that.
So you watched the right things.
You ignored all the things he did promise and voted for him for something he never promised to do.
No, he did. He did talk about crypto. Not at every rally, but he went to the Bitcoin conference. He talked a lot about how he was going to make America crypto friendly, be the crypto capital of the world. He did talk on all those things, yeah. And he did talk about how, I think he's definitely not as versed in cryptocurrencies as you would want the first crypto-friendly president to be. But given his age, I can understand it. I mean, he probably still knows more about crypto than yourself.
Yeah.
But he might not know about as much of it about me, right? But I mean, he still made a shit ton more money than I have on crypto. I mean, well, most people probably don't know he tripled his net worth on his Trump coins.
I mean, when you're Trump, people just giving you money. I mean, shit, he could just say anything, and people are just throwing money his way. At this point, he can't lose. I mean, people are just throwing money at him. If he say, look, the liberals are fucking with me, I need you to get online and send $20 to my campaign, he'll have $1 million by the morning. People are just throwing money at him. So he can't lose at this point. But if in regards to crypto, I suppose if that is the primary reason you voted for Trump, yeah, it probably makes sense that you would vote for Trump than Biden or Kamala Harris, because I do believe Trump would be more likely to grant your wish in that one area. But the economy and the Ukraine war, all the other things that he was actually preaching on, you don't seem to really be concerned about that. So good.
Because if you look at it, and like I think he said it back in 2016, maybe 2017. I can't remember the exact time he said it, but he talked about the first time I remember him talking about crypto, and he was saying it's going to bring us all on a level playing field. And that's where I started taking a deeper dive into crypto and doing my research and stuff, and noticing that you got like BRICS that is trying to use their own cryptocurrency to surpass the American dollar. So any sanctions and anything like that we have against those countries, like Russia wanting to buy oil. Well, what's oil really bought on the world global markets? The American dollar, right? Yeah. Well, if BRICS can come together and make their own cryptocurrency, then they can devalue our dollar, right?
How?
And that's the big thing that he's talked about recently is stable coins and how that's going to ensure our future as a country going forward. Because if everyone else, even our adversaries, are going to digital currency, we've got to be in that stronghold if we want to be able to stand our own ground in the future.
How has his crypto been, because he has his own coin, how has that been performing?
I mean, it did really good at first. I think its all-time high was like 60.
Yeah, because everybody was buying it. Just like I said, if he goes online and says, send me $20, in the beginning, everybody's going to flood in. But how is it doing now?
I think I don't really look at meme coins because they have no utility. It's only his name that is tied to that coin. It offers no utility. And mini crypto, there's a lot more coins that offer utility that are going to make changes and do things. But yeah, I mean, I think it was 20-something bucks now. So it's gone down quite a bit, but he's made his money off of it.
What normally happens is he's the only winner in the room. I got to move it on Texas, but that's normally what happens. He's the only winner in the room.
Meme coins, meme coins. That's why I tell people don't mess with meme coins. They're like trading cards, But there are a lot of cryptocurrencies with utility out there. Do your research. Now's the time to get in if you can really want to make some money and make some changes for your family and your future. You'd get into crypto and you wouldn't worry about everything else.
All right. Appreciate you coming through, Texas. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. How many of you guys are in the crypto market? I'm be curious. How many of you guys in the crypto market? You think Trump is likely to grant his wish? You think Trump is likely to do what he voted for Trump for? Now, he voted for Trump for a reason that I don't normally hear anybody talk about. I'm assuming some of you folks may want the crypto market to be controlled by Trump, but most folks are, economy, ending wars and things like that. So his reasoning is completely different than anything I've heard from any other caller. But looking in the comments, though, it is funny he likes Trump for, what is this? For robbing people with his meme coin. Well, the meme, as he rightfully pointed out, the meme coin has done poorly, but who knows? Maybe it'll bounce back. You never know. Looking in the comments real quick, check out Paul Volcker. Was a Fed chair in the 1980s. His plan is what I think Trump is doing with the economy. It's highly risky. I haven't heard anyone in terms of financial analysts that suggests what Trump is doing with the tariffs and things like that is a good idea. And I think it's even worse when you start asking folks, anybody with some actual knowledge, does it make sense to fire such a large portion of the federal government? I haven't heard anybody speak positively of doing that. So we'll see. Obviously, MAGA, Trump supporters are going to have full trust in Trump. So they believe if he says we had to fire this many people, we saved a bunch of money, they were wasteful, they were fraudulent, they were abusive to the system, they're going to believe it. But in terms of insiders and analysts, I haven't heard anybody suggest that firing people the way he's been doing it, talking about Elon, is good for the government in the long term. So we'll see. But I will say this: Trump could come out looking like a hero if they get rid of that significant portion of the federal government all across the board. Whether it's NOAA, whether it's the IRS. I mean, they're firing people everywhere. If all of a sudden he can do all of that and the American economy and the government still continues to run strong, then Trump comes out looking like a hero. I have a hard time seeing it happen like that, but we'll see. Looking at the company like Stalin. Damn, you're comparing Trump to Joseph Stalin? Again, the thing that bothers me is how I got to put on my spectacles to read this shit. And why my screen is the text is so small. Again, the thing that bothers me is how obvious it is that people don't have a plan. They keep putting on tariffs, then taking them down, firing people, then hiring them back. That is happening. That it does appear that Elon is firing folks so fast that they are not firing folks that deserve to be terminated. They're just picking people. It just looks like he's trying to go literally on a chopping block and fire as many people as possible. That's what it looks like, but maybe some folks see it differently. All right, going back to the box. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Get the likes on up. We're pretty low. You guys can get us about 30,000. Tap the screen. Give it about a good minute. Helps out the algorithm. You know what I say. It brings more MAGA. Understand, folks, this is an uncensored broadcast. We go left of Bernie Sanders Trump having dinner with Q. Despite the guests you may hear, we take all guests. So if you want to come across to Instagram or TikTok, we'll bring you up. Regardless of what your opinion is, we do believe in your right to speak. So you can be critical of anybody in the comment section up to and including yours truly. Trump should have pulled out of Ivanka the first time. Oh my God. Oh my, he says Trump should have pulled out of Ivanka the first time. Tim, are you afraid your channel will be taken down if Trump hears you say something negative about him? It's a great question, John C. on YouTube. I've thought about that. Because we know Trump does not like being criticized, but I'm way down in the fucking weeds. You'll see big channels go out. You'll see plenty of signs of it before he gets to my ass. Big channels will be bitching about it and complaining about it. I got 100,000 on YouTube, maybe a little bit more on TikTok, less, far less on Instagram, but I'm in the weeds compared to some of these really Midas touch type channels. So if they start complaining about it, and then they go off air, then I know, eventually it's coming to me next. So we'll see what happens. But I will answer it by saying this. While I don't know if that's going to happen, I feel confident that Trump would favor doing that. There's a lot of courts and things like that that would likely have to be dealt with, that he would have to get through. But if it was left up to him, I do believe he would stop all negative pages from operating. I believe he would do that. So we'll see. But let me go back to the box, continuing on with the program. Nicole Gooden, good evening. Welcome to the program, Nicole. So the economy, do you feel confident that Trump can turn it around like he promised?
Absolutely not.
Have you got a loud background, a window down or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm at work, but absolutely not. That's not gonna happen. Definitely not gonna happen.
I mean, you saw what happened under Biden. I mean, I'm hearing that Biden was screwing things up and Trump was the guy.
Some of us live in reality, and some of us live in Magaland.
Do you think Kamala Harris would be doing a better job?
Absolutely.
Really? You think Kamala Harris would have gotten Putin and Zelensky to, start working toward a ceasefire? You can see Kamala Harris working with them.
Well, I would say it would be more of the norm. It would be the regular politician shit. Now it's a complete shit show. So I was watching Reagan's daughter earlier today on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
And
even the Reagans have a problem.
And that's another thing I was thinking about, Tim. Why doesn't any of the previous presidents criticize the way he criticizes them?
You know, I
know some of them are older.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is respect for the office. What Trump is doing is abnormal. Normally, once you're out of office, you step aside and respect the office of president. Trump obviously does not do that. I mean, he doesn't mind criticizing sitting senators, generals, governors. He does that, but all of the rest of the presidents, you know, the living ones from Bush on down to Obama, I think they all are doing that. Now, he calls out Biden so much that, in my opinion, Biden should speak up. I mean, he is constantly insulting Biden on every speech. Biden should speak up and say something. But who knows what Biden is doing right now?
But there's Barack. I mean, Clinton. There's so many. Bush.
He doesn't really insult. Clinton is too far back. He doesn't. I mean, he does criticize Obama somewhat, but he really hammers Biden. You can't hardly get him to hold a speech without bringing up Biden. I mean, he has Biden derangement syndrome.
But you know, the only reason he does that is because that man is so old. Like, you could tell that he was not in his best shape when he was leaving office.
So then, so if Biden was not in his best shape when he left office, how do you feel about the liberals making it sound like that guy could have done 4 more years?
I would have preferred that shit. I would have preferred that shit show than this one. Because this is just ridiculous.
So do you hold the liberals accountable for lying about Biden's cognitive abilities?
Oh, it was clear he was losing his cognitive ability. It was clear.
But Kamala Harris was telling you. Yeah, but Kamala Harris was saying. Yeah, she was lying. So she was.
I was never a fan of hers. However, like he just said, they all lie. They all lie. But at the same time, Elon is doing so much shit. He's even getting political. And they say he's flying around in Air Force One. Like, you're there to do Doge. You're there to clean up waste, fraud, and abuse. Why are you talking about Chauvin? Why are you talking about any of this other stuff? It has nothing to do with you. You're not even an American.
Well, wait, I'll push back a little bit. If Elon's job is to cut out waste, fraud, and abuse, the money in the armaments we've been sending to Ukraine, some would argue that that's waste, fraud, and abuse. That is money in terms of weapons going to the Ukraine. So Elon may be cutting out his waste.
And this is what Reagan's daughter was talking about. We used to be a country where we would try to help everyone, right? Christian-like.
Were we?
Even though, but you know, not when it came to us. However,
right.
Once we figured out that slavery was wrong and stealing the rest of people's shit was wrong.
Did we?
But hey, this is where he wants to take us back. He wants to take Greenland and Panama Canal and all this other kind of stuff. But she said we used to help people. Now we don't want to help anybody. So if we're going to be a country that's going to be fending for ourselves, we don't even have our neighbors. Our neighbors won't even fuck with us. They're taking our alcohol and things like that down off the shelf. Like, it's just ridiculous. And then most of those people that are paying the most for this, for like the businesses, like I think it's Jack Daniels. All of their stuff is being taken out of off of Canada shelves.
But what about what my last caller suggested? That listen, right now in the interim, there's going to be some suffering because the tariffs are new, but at the end of the day, America's going to be on top because of what Trump is doing. Can you see any validity to that?
Hell no. We're going to be at the bottom.
You think so?
We're going to be at the bottom, yes. If he keeps this up, we're going to be at the bottom. We're going to be damn near a third world country. Like, he's fucking up royally. You're emptying out the government, so no one will be able to check you. You have all your cronies up in high places, whatever. The Supreme Court is almost afraid to make decisions for themselves and think with the Constitution. Like, it's getting to the point where we don't even have free thought. It will get to the point where he will be censoring you or censoring TikTok or whoever else. It's ridiculous. And we're only 60 days in.
Yeah,
this is a scary part.
Wasn't that a show on A&E 60 Days In? So let me ask you this though, because many are going to say what you're saying is just your own version of Trump derangement syndrome, because they're going to point out that Trump was in office the first time and he didn't do any of the stuff you're saying he's going to do now. How do you respond to people who will say, look, you're making Trump sound like a monster. We had him in office for a full term and he never did any of that shit?
I think there's always a difference between their first term and their second term. However, this person wants a third term. He thinks he's a king. He wants everyone to bow down. What have you ever heard of? He's not. What did they say about Zelensky? He's not.
Called him a dictator.
Basically, yes, but they wanted him to basically bend the knee. Basically, he wasn't kissing his ass on TV. Yeah. Rubio and all these other people came up and then you have a whole conference right in front of everyone. Normally, these conversations happen behind.
But what would you do? Well, if you were in Zelensky's position where you're trying to get a ceasefire because so many of your countrymen are being killed, would you bend the knee and kiss Trump's whatever, kiss his Converse, his Bruce Leroy? Would you do that to get the war to end?
No, because Trump is actually on Putin's side. So there's nothing that Zelensky can do. There's a lose-lose with that. Whoever gets on TV and tells all of your, well, you suck here on the front line and we're going to stop giving you all our intel. Why don't you just call Putin and tell him to nuke the place? I mean, what?
So what you're saying is that even if Zelensky bows down and kisses Trump ring, it's still not going to help him?
No. And if he gives up the minerals, it's going to be even worse. You don't have any security. Why? If he's not trying to give you any security for your minerals and whatever you're signing over, what's the point of signing?
Yeah.
Oh, because America be over there. They said it will take them at least 10 years to get to whatever. First of all, they got to stop bombing. But that's a lot of areas that Putin has control over. So how do you impose these things? You haven't asked anything of Russia. So how do they get those things?
So it sounds like you're almost suggesting that Zelensky should just look elsewhere and just not even work with Trump at all.
I think he got a better chance calling Taliban, Hamas, whoever.
Wow. Serious?
Yes. It's a complete waste of time talking to him. I don't know what they did and where did they meet today with Rubio. That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Waste of time.
What was it, in Saudi Arabia somewhere? Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
It's nothing going to come of that. And no matter what he does, kiss butt, whatever, there's nothing good going to come of that.
He was better calling the Taliban. Damn.
At least they fight. Hey, at least they fight. Because we don't want to give them any weapons. And we're giving them data.
Yeah, we're not even giving them surveillance information anymore. We literally have cut them off completely.
So they are basically fighting their own fight. So why would I take everything from you and give it back?
Yeah. Wow. All right, Nicole, you do got some background. I'm going to have to move it up. You got a lot of background noise, but you paint a real bleak picture. No chance that Trump is going to make America great?
I'll put it in the comments.
All right. Appreciate you coming through.
All right.
Good talk, Nicole. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program, by the way, folks, and tap the screen. There's a lot of lazy fingers in here tonight. What's up with that? I can't get the 40,000 likes. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. Smash that like button on YouTube and TikTok. Biased caller says Bill Dozer. Well, Bill, you can feel free to come over to TikTok or Instagram. We would gladly bring you up and you could help correct some of that. But moving on with the program, I don't know what I just hit there, but we'll go to, I think Mike is there. Good evening. Welcome to the program. You got a call in option yet for YouTube. No, YouTube doesn't make that, Marin. I wish they did, because a lot of my MAGA viewers are on YouTube. I would gladly bring you up. You can point out all of the fallacies and falsehoods of the liberals, but unfortunately, YouTube doesn't create that. So that's why I have Instagram and TikTok there. I have Clapper, but we're not live on Clapper right now. And I'm trying to get Rumble going, but no, YouTube doesn't allow that yet. We got a Russian boogeyman in the chat. Really? I'd love to talk to a Russian boogeyman. Just copy and paste everything somebody puts in chat for me. I don't know what that says. Second Amendment first. If Russia is so great, why are guns banned for many and very strictly controlled? Wow, I did not know that. So in Russia, they don't have the right to bear arms? You said it's tightly controlled over there. Well, Putin is a dictator. I don't think that's really up for debate. And it's going to be difficult to run a dictatorship if everybody can shoot your ass. So that might have something to do with it. We'll try again with the comments here. I don't know what I'm doing here. Continue it on with my last call it dropped. We'll go to Pimp named Furback. Good evening. Welcome to the program. How is that ruble doing? Horrible. But that's because of the sanctions on Russia. Trump may lift those sanctions. You never know. Trump is very favorable to Russia. Furback, good evening.
What's up?
Not much at all. Not much at all. Brother? Say that again.
Would you what? I said, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Hanging around, like as I always say. Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting, just hanging. So, what do you think in regards to the stock market itself being down 900 points? They're saying right now the volatility of Trump being hesitant to even admit if we're going to be in a recession or not is just fucking up the stock market. Any chance that recovers anytime soon?
Nah, man. Everything that's good about him is what's bad about him. You know what I mean? It's his stubbornness, his know-it-all, and that's what's going to always get in his way.
There has to be something good to President Trump. Would you not agree? I mean, give me something good. Give me something that's favorable about Trump. What has he done good for America, in your opinion?
Well, he's pulled a blanket off the white sheets. I mean,
what the fuck? Wait. What? He did what? I know with white sheets. I know the significance of white sheets, but what did you just say he did?
He pulled the blanket off of him. He pulled that little, that little flag off of him, the stars and bars, and he showed us that America is really what we thought we'd come a long way from.
Kind of reminds me of the late coach that said the Bears are who we thought they were. That's what it sounds like you said. I mean, exactly. Wow. You really think America's that? I'm gonna say intolerant. Racist is the word you're talking about. You really think America's that bad right now in 2025?
Yeah.
Based on what?
And well, based on that, I don't know if I'm infamous or famous for saying this, but BLM is not a new concept. No, same thing that Malcolm and these guys in the 60s and shit was talking about. Why are we talking about it still in 2025?
Yeah, but you got to think, as an African American, you can buy a home, you can buy a car, you can get a good job, you can get a good education. I had a white man tell me today that white people are the new N-word. It's like, you guys got it made. I wish I had the advantages of you. So you're telling me, you're bringing up, bygone era, but you're saying that America's still a racist country. A lot of folks are saying that blacks have it made now.
Okay, Tim, and I know this is not personally for you, but I want to tell you what I heard, what you were saying, that, it was people back then that said Master treats us good. Ooh. We get to sleep on the floor in the house. Ooh. You know what I mean? Yeah, he give us the scraps before we give the scraps to y'all. Mm. So just because we're in the house, does that mean shit's better? Yeah. We were all enslaved. I mean, you just happen to be lighter. You can't just leave like I want to. So we're both in the same damn boat.
I was not leaving tonight. I was not running away with you. I live in the house. Yeah, I get it. I get
it. We sick, sir. You know what I mean? This Bautista tribe shit. You know what I mean? So, wow. Hey, it just is what it is. So yeah, I hear you. You know what I mean? But like I said, hey, You know, I think it was Ice Cube that said you still an N-word in the Benz. You still an N-word in the Benz at the end of the day.
So, you know, okay. Man, I have heard that. That's brutal. I don't know though. When you look at the fact, like I said, as an African American, there really is nothing interfering with you enjoy the American dream. Now, if you want to be a general, you want to be a senator, you want to be president, yeah, that's a bit challenging. But you just want to have a nice car, a nice house, a picket fence. Even as an African American, you would admit you can do that now, right?
Yeah, I like I said, you know, Master fed us. You know what I mean?
You need to stop that.
We got some good skills out of it. I mean, so yeah, you're right. Yeah, we can do some things. You know what I mean? We can do some things, but like I said, how far have we come? We're still in the same spot. You know what I mean? In a matter of speaking, I mean, so DEI, you know, affirmative action, all these things that they say we don't need anymore. I don't know many things, just like this economy we've been talking about, that day one or 50 or 60 years, you know, post, you know what I mean, these rights that we was granted in 65, we've been free less than we was in bondage. So for any of us to think that, okay, we flipped the switch and we turned the fucking corners, that's not reality. Well, you still got people that lived during that time that's still around. I guess in Congress.
I guess the point I'm making. Joe was one. Yeah, I guess the point I'm making is this: there are a lot of African Americans that make it sound like we've made no progress at all. While I agree with you that things are not perfect. This is not 1950 or even 1960. You do have a hell of a lot more rights, freedoms, and abilities in 2025 than you would have had even 30, 40 years ago. You'll admit that, right? We are making progress.
I say we were, but now you got a guy in there now that says we don't need any of this progress we made. You know what I mean? I mean, these protections, these things we had that kind of keep, you know, give people a little head start. They had a 200-foot head start. We're just trying to get 10 feet.
So you believe that Trump is trying to remove any of the progresses that minorities and I guess women too have made in this country?
Well, I mean, like I said, Tim, in 2025, let's go to your premise that we've come a long way. In 2025, do you think your grandparents, your dad, your mom even would think that we're still talking about what the fuck is a black job in 2025?
No, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what a black job is at all.
So if it's a black job out there, then what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like I said, have we progressed? Yeah. But in what way? Monetary ways? You know what I mean?
Not just monetary. I mean, not just monetary. I know. I'll give you an example. You've probably heard of the Green Book, or maybe even seen the movie The Green Book.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I was an over-the-road driver, just stopped doing it a few years ago. And I know I was in areas that during the era of the Green Book, I would not have been able to do that. I would not have been able to go to Ma and Pa's and enjoy a nice dinner or a nice barbecue dinner or something like that at a small restaurant. I would not have been able to do that. So even in my grandma's era, she couldn't do that stuff. But I can. That's what I'm talking about in regards to progress.
Okay. Like I said, I'm not really pushing back on that. I'm just saying that maybe because it looks different, it's not really different. You know what I mean?
Explain.
What I'm saying is, our money couldn't get us in doors that they get us in now. It doesn't mean that behind those doors is not still the same fucking people.
I understand what you're saying. I'm pushing back because there's a lot of African Americans that own businesses and things like that. You may push to get in the door where the door may be owned by an African American and you're working at a company that's African American now. So there are places like that where you go ahead.
I get you, bro. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not really pushing back on that. I think me as a black man, I've always said that a lot of times we get thrown the chicken legs and not knowing it's a whole fucking chicken. So we nibbling on the fucking legs, and by the time we look up, it's like, that was it? Yeah, that's chickens only got 2 legs. The rest of this shit y'all don't need to worry about. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm coming from that standpoint.
Okay.
And we kind of been on this, but there was a few things that There's no taxes thing.
No taxes on tips. No taxes on tips and overtime.
No taxes on income. Wherever the fuck it is, taxes and unaliving what I've always grown up to know that those are two things that you're going to have in life. Right. So you're going to go one day, and you can probably
death and taxes. I get it. Death and taxes. Those are assured.
So what I'm saying is, I think you was talking to Dan Cal. It kind of made me think about things when you talk about California and did they vote for him. I would say that people would say, hey, I pay my taxes for my government to do this. Now, if you take out the taxes, then I think the government picks winners and losers. It goes to the highest bidder. If you don't vote for me, after election day, after the midterms, I'll send you your funding.
Yeah, and I will say, I can see that certainly from an aspect of Trump, because Trump rewards loyalty. If you support Trump, he supports you, even if what you're doing is not necessarily law-abiding or whatever. We're talking about January 6th or whatever. If you support him, he got your back, no matter what you're doing. So I can see, like you said, if all of a sudden it comes down to, a free-for-all, you vote for me or whatever. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that happening.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I've been telling you since I've been coming on your show that, $2 gas is never coming back. And I would pay $10 a gallon. Like I say, and the reason I say $2 gas is never coming back, avocados for a quarter is never coming back. I don't know about you. I don't know if you ate the little, the hot Cheetos and shit as a kid. They came in the bag.
Oh, I know that ain't coming back. They're like damn near $2 a bag now. Shit.
And the shrinkflation, you get like a third of what you used to
I went in the gas station the other day. I wanted to get, let me get some Doritos, and I pick up a bag that I remember being like, I don't know, 25 cents as a kid. I remember them being as much as 50, 60 cents. Motherfucker said $2.69. Like, are you kidding me? I don't want no Doritos anymore. $2.69 for maybe a 2-serving bag. I'm like, of Doritos. Like, what?
But that's my point, though, Tim. Like, us as Americans, our arrogance and our consumer of abundance and this gluttony of what we do, gas will never be $2 again because we bought it at $3.
Yeah.
Those Doritos you had in your hand, unless they was from 1985, they obviously selling.
Yeah, that's a good point. In other words, once they realize people are willing to pay the higher prices, there's no reason to drop them.
Yeah, and this whole pipe dream of you bring back companies to America that they're going to put America first. No, they put shareholders first. That's their obligation. It's the fucking law. They're not a good company unless they're beholden to their shareholders. Yeah. So they're these prices and delusions of grandeur. You don't understand capitalism. You don't. You know what I mean? And for it to be a good businessman, and I know you always push back on this, I understood a long time ago that those immigrants and those people that was, quote unquote, that level below us only pushed us up. Like you always say, it only raises their foundation. Yeah. So in my humble opinion, everybody that voted for that look like me and you or people of color, I don't think y'all understood the assignment, and y'all don't understand fucking capitalism.
That makes a good business. I get what you're saying, and that makes a good point. Like I picture a 3-story home, and the first floor, around the basement level, that is the immigrants. Those are the ones that are at the bottom. The upper middle class folks, they're up at the eave, they're up near the roof. If you get rid of the immigrant class, which is the base of the whole damn thing drops down. So even the people that are on the second floor, they're not as high up as they used to be. They're still on the second floor, but the whole structure has dropped down some. So yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
And what I'm saying is that all that work that we did, these people that say, hey, it's for us and this and that, the biggest trick is that you just got tricked out of your position. And what I mean is we've gotten into the position with the immigrants and with the work that our forefathers did, that we were able to tell our kids that you can think past Calvin and McDonald's and being a fucking manager. You know what I mean?
Not the Calvin commercials.
But you understand what I'm saying? So
I understand what you're saying.
In that position where, because of the immigrants and the work that we did, that we was in that position to make that next level up. Yeah. Our women was being more educated, college educated. You even said we get more black businesses, but the minute you take that bottom floor out, we have no choice but to drop back down.
So you can see the possibility if Trump gets rid of the immigrant labor of us becoming a replacement for that.
Well, who else would be?
Why can't white people do it?
Okay.
I'm just fucking with you. I get your point. I get your point.
You may be right. I'm just saying history tells me that. Okay.
Yeah, I get your point. I get your point. You know, I was watching that left-wing show, The View, and Sunny Hostin said that something similar. She said she believes that Trump is trying to create a permanent underclass of Americans by doing that stuff. You know, getting rid of immigrants and rolling back like DEI and affirmative, all of the things like you said that may have helped out the minority community, getting rid of that stuff. Because really, now I know a lot of folks believe that DEI, getting rid of that, allows you to pick people based on merit. But also it allows schools to not have to factor in race, color, and orientation in their selection as well. So you can now not pick black people to get an education to begin with. Because now if taking DEI out of corporations, you can say, well, I don't want to be forced to hire a person of color or a woman that doesn't have the merit. But if you're picking students and saying that you don't have to do it, now you are actually allowing the educational facilities or institutions to literally pick and choose who they want. And that's kind of what we used to have, is whereas people of color did not have access to a decent education at a lot of institutions. So if you don't educate them, then when they become adults, they're not going to have the same merit. So now you don't have to hire them either. So, I mean, there is a pattern to it. I think that's what you're that's what you're getting at?
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, my father's, former Black Panther, definitely had his views, but he always told me the white T-man thinks in 20-year increments. He always told me as a kid, and you know what I mean? Like, me and him, we never watched cartoons. We watched the news and we watched documentaries and shit. That's what, since I can remember, rest his soul. But he always said that they thought in 20-year increments. And he said, always told me the problem with the opposing party or the opposing views was they think in 5-year increments. And by the time they catch up, look at the Supreme Court.
Sound like your pops was trying to tell you that white men are smarter than blacks. I got to move it on. I give you the last word.
All right, one more thing. And I've been saying it in the chat. I don't know if nobody's catching it. We want Greenland. We want to fuck with Mexico and Canada. Why we just don't take Russia? What the fuck we waiting on?
They're our friends, though.
No, let's take those fuckers out. This is the best time you're going to have a chance to do it. Honestly, they're weak. We know they're paper tigers. Why the fuck are we holding hands with a
You do realize Russia has over 1,000 atomic weapons, right? They ain't done for. I mean, they can really party if they need to.
Well, let's party.
Why would you want to? I mean, why the hell would you want to get involved in something like that?
Well, what I'm saying is, if we want to be the badass and Trump is so tough and Putin doesn't own him, it makes more sense to us to just take fucking Russia out of here. When are you going to have another chance?
Well, keep in mind, Trump is only going to be around for another 3 years, so he's going to be gone.
What does that? That didn't matter when he was talking about Greenland and all the other shit. No, you want to be a big dog. He want this peace prize. Did it lose him? That Mr. Obama got? You take out Russia, you get your peace prize, bro.
Well. I don't even want to think about that. I hope he never. I don't think he's thinking the way you're talking about, and I hope he never does. I gotta move it on. No furback. Appreciate you coming through.
Every time, Tim.
Always.
Hey, tap the screen, get my man up.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, all of the lazy thumbs in here. We should be around 50, 60,000, but damn. Tap the screen, get the likes up, smash that like button if you are on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. Concrete tax, I can show you an app and elaborate on it if you want. I would love to hear that in regards to the concrete tax you're talking about there, whatever it says there. Now soon to be I don't get. Okay, you guys are having a conversation amongst each other, and the whole planet would be destroyed with that mentality. I agree with that. If we take on Russia and it becomes a full-on atomic war, they used to have what they call MAD, mutually assured destruction. Yeah, America trying to conquer Russia would be a mess. I think if you wanted to conquer Russia, it should be done the way that they're currently conquering us from the inside. I don't think you conquer a nation like Russia, a nation like the United States or China by a full-on war with 2025 technology. It's just a different day and era. I think the way you conquer a big country like that, a big superpower, is you tear it apart from the inside. Like what we're dealing with right now, where you make the people hate each other. They don't trust government. They don't trust each other. And then you got them, you know what they say, we stand divided, we fall. If you got half the country hating the other half, it's easy to pick off shit. Before you know it, maybe half of the country starts viewing Russia favorably. That's how you do it. If Russia wants to take down the United States, take them apart from the inside. Get them not to trust themselves, their own institutions, and maybe get some of them rather, to start trusting us. Maybe think that we have a better idea. And there are a large amount of Americans now favoring Russia. I'm watching Chris Cuomo interviewing Tucker Carlson right before I went on live. And Tucker is pretty favorable to Russia. He is pretty damn favorable to Russia. And he has a huge fan base. I would assume a lot of Tucker Carlson's fans also view Russia in a favorable manner. I get folks in the program all the time that'll tell me the Ukrainians, just like Trump said, by the way, the Ukrainians are the reason that war started because they were flirting with joining NATO, indicating that any country that is near Russia that flirts with joining NATO gives Russia the right to just attack and start killing people. I had a lot of folks that believe that because the Ukraine was indicating that they would like to join NATO, that gave Putin the right to just go in and start killing people. So with that mindset, there's a whole lot of folks in this country that favors Russia. I think that's insane. I think that is literally insane to suggest that this guy can just go in there and do something like that. I don't look, at the end of the day, if the Canadians or the Mexicans wanted to join the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War, I don't think that gives the United States the right to just go into Canada and start taking people out or go into Mexico and start murdering people. I'm not a fan of that. I know a lot of folks in America might be, but it is what it is. That's what we're dealing with. Look at it in the comments real quick. I think we listen too much to propaganda, and yet in reality, those people are just no different than we are. I don't know anything about Russia, and seems Putin is a sincere, oh my God, it says Putin is a sincere person and conservative. No, the amount of assassinations under Putin, I wish I had it queued up because I'm a big Bill O'Reilly fan, and I listen to his podcast during the day. Now, Bill O'Reilly is a longtime friend of Trump. He refers to Putin as Hitler-like. He has a book coming out where it's called Confronting Evil, and he has on the cover Hitler and Stalin and Putin. And he points to all of these assassinations and what Putin has done to get rid of rivals and all of that, poison people and everything. So when you say you think that Putin is a sincere person and conservative, that's what I mean when I say getting folks to like Russia. Take the Ukrainians out of the picture. The Russians have done some awful shit to countries. Awful shit. Invading Georgia in 2008 is yet another case of that. I mean, that's why people in the region think that they're not going to stop at the Ukraine. Anyhow, looking in the comments, PM Stacker says different scenario. Murder is murder. Okay, you murdered this dude for a different reason, but you still murdered him. So what I'm pointing out, yeah, it's a different scenario. But yeah, Putin is not a good guy. I don't think that, yeah, that's insane. You're going to side with him and all of our allies throughout the East, throughout the European theater. They're all wrong about Putin. But yeah, how did that work out like that? How the hell did that start happening? Where all of our allies, all of the members of NATO are getting Putin wrong and you're siding with Putin. What is that based on? What evidence can we present to show that all of our NATO allies are wrong about Putin? Not to mention all of our former presidents. They're all wrong about him too. Only Trump and I guess Belarus, one of the allies of Russia. What evidence supports that? We view Russia as damn near immoral all of our lives. All of a sudden Trump comes along and they're the good guys? What is that actually based on? What have they done to suddenly make them the good guy? I would love to know that. Real quick in the comments, when Putin started owning Trump, must be, because I don't know where that happened. If you are a Tucker fan, I can't talk to you, says Sherbert. I don't watch Tucker. I'm not opposed to watching Tucker Carlson. I like watching folks on the right as well. But I'm watching I'm a big Chris Cuomo fan. I'm watching Cuomo interview him, and it's weird because he just breaks out in laughter and shit. I don't know if he had, when they say Elon has Asperger's or has autism. To me, Tucker comes across as somebody who has some type of issue like that. Just laughter that's like out of sync. Like, why are you laughing? What are you laughing about? Just weird shit. So I don't get Tucker Carlson. And for folks who constantly berated Kamala Harris for her laugh, if you're one of them kind of people, but you like Tucker Carlson with that freaking crazy ass laugh, you got to make me understand that. Because Tucker Carlson, I'm watching this like that. What is he laughing about? Ain't nothing funny. Just breaking out in laughter. Just some weird shit. Going back to the box. Yeah, I don't understand it. So somebody can help me out maybe. Don't know what I'm hitting the mic. Now, Mike, I'm getting something wrong apparently. So Mike is going to correct. What am I getting wrong tonight?
Oh, I like that. I like that sweater you got on. I'm looking at your sweater.
Oh, appreciate it.
First of all, listen, it's 145 people in here. Let's tap the screen, share the live. This brother right here needs more than 41,000. He's been on for a long time. See, this is your black job. You're only getting half the likes in the same amount of time.
Well, my YouTube audience, now see, I got MAGA on YouTube. MAGA participates. The comments are going insane. There's like 600 plus. MAGA keeps it up. My MAGA audience is 4 times as much as my YouTube audience is. MAGA is constantly calling me libtards and insulting the hell out of me, but MAGA shows up. So it is what it is. That's why the program is MAGA friendly. So go ahead.
That's hilarious. That look right there. Hey, listen, we are living in a cacostocracy right now.
A what?
Cacostocracy.
What the fuck is that?
It's a government that is led by the least suitable, competent citizens of the country.
What are you trying to say? Trump is a DEI elector?
We are living in a cacostocracy. Yes, it is exactly. It's by definition. That's what it is. That's what we're living in.
A cackers? I've never heard of that term. I'm going to put
K-A-K-I.
Hold on a second. Let me get my shit going because you teaching me shit. I ain't never heard of that.
Cacostocracy. K-A.
Sound like a venereal disease. K-A what?
K-A-K-I-S-T-O.
Yeah, I see it. All right.
Yeah.
Government by the least suitable or competent citizen of a state. Damn. The danger is that they will reduce us to a cacostocracy. That's the sentence they use it in. A state or society governed by its least suitable or competent citizens. You're suggesting that Trump is... I don't know. Look, Trump was president for 4 years. You know I got to push back. Trump was president for 4 years, and he didn't come across as a cacostocracy after his first term. That's why they reelected him.
That's not why they reelected him, Tim. I told you he's been mediocre forever. But we don't... I'm telling you that. I've been telling you he's mediocre. You asked about Russia a minute ago.
Right.
You asked about Putin.
And you know me, before you continue, you know me pushing back got me just called a Sambo by Isaac on YouTube. Go ahead. Call me a Sambo. Even put periods in between each letter.
Look at Nick. I said, Maca, what? Cacostocracy. You talk about the relationship between him and Russia. It's been going on forever. He was reaching out to Russia about the emails. You remember that whole Hillary thing?
You can find Hillary Clinton's emails, yeah.
Right. So there was more going on there. The one thing that I will say about Trump is when he's telling you, he's like a duck on the pond, except for he got legs on top of the water too. He's always splashing, and there's a lot of shit going on underneath too. He's always telling you what he's going to do before he actually does it.
But is that not a good thing to have a politician that's transparent?
I didn't say transparent. Just because you're telling, again, you have to sift through the bullshit to get to what he's actually doing. But if you're really paying attention and do some research, it's easy, right? We've been talking about this for a long time, Tim. We've been talking about Project 2025. We've been talking about all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're witnessing right now. Did you ever go look, Dink out. Did you ever go look up Don's Early Light, the book by Kevin Roberts?
No.
Okay, and I told you to go. I didn't say buy it, but just go look it up and read the foreword that was written by J.D. Vance.
No, I do remember you telling me that.
Right. So the name of the book, just so let's be clear, and this is my point. The name of the book is Don's Early Light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says Taking Back Washington to
Save America. Yeah, I see it now.
But that's not what it was originally, Tim. It was Don's Early Light burning down Washington to save America, and it was a match on the cover. You can look this up.
And why was it changed?
Well,
because J.D. Vance is connected with it.
Well, yeah, and it said burning down Washington to save America. Now, when you read the foreword, there's a section in the foreword. This is really important. People haven't read. There's a section in the foreword where J.D. Vance is using this analogy. And this analogy he talks about is about a garden. He's using this garden as this in this analogy. And he's talking about sometimes when you're growing a garden, there's things that make it attractive to things you want to cultivate and things you don't really want to cultivate, right?
Okay.
And in an effort to eliminate the bad, a well-meaning gardener will treat the garden with the chemical and kill some of the weeds at the same time he's killing some of the good things.
True.
I'll say unaliving. That's what he says. Undeterred, the gardener keeps adding the solution. Eventually, the soil is inhospitable. In this analogy, modern liberalism is the gardener. The garden is our country, and the voices discouraging the gardener were conservatives.
So he doesn't like anybody.
Right. So I'm gonna finish right here. We were right, of course, in an effort to correct problems, some real, some imagined. We made a lot of mistakes as a country in the 1960s and 70s. But to bring the garden back to health, it's not enough to undo the mistakes of the past. The garden needs not just to stop adding a terrible solution, though it does that, it needs to be recultivated. The old conservative movement argued if you just got the government out of the way, natural forces would resolve the problem. We are no longer in this situation and must take a different approach. As Kevin Roberts writes, it's fine to take a laissez-faire approach when you're in the safety of the sunshine, but when the twilight descends and you hear the wolves, you got to circle the wagons and load the muskets. We are now realizing that it's time to circle the wagons and load the muskets in the fight that lay ahead. These ideas are an essential weapon. Sure. J.D. Vance wrote that. J.D. Vance wrote that.
So what is he calling for? I mean, obviously civil unrest. It almost sounds like anarchy.
Well, that's the point. What is he calling for? It wasn't a love letter. It wasn't professing its love for the country and all people, right?
Yeah. Well, the good thing is Trump has already made it clear J.D. Vance is not his successor, so we're not going to see much of J.D. Vance after Trump, according to Trump.
Right. This is the Heritage Foundation. This is the thing. So everything we're seeing right now. So to answer your question, they're not intending for it to come back, Tim. They're not intending for the market to rebound.
I got somebody in the comments that is politically the opposite of you, but he's sound like what you guys maybe agree, and he says to tear down the system. Do you see where they're just trying to literally cause chaos?
Yeah, that's the plan. It's always been the plan to tear it down.
And replace it with?
Without us.
Who is us?
You, me, minorities, women. They're trying to align people that's where Make America Great Again. They're trying to get us back to then. They're trying to get back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Every executive order is designed for that, Tim. Every executive order is designed to take us back before. So let me ask you this. By executive order, if you remove a law, if you remove a provision, what is it? What does it default back to, Tim?
What was there before?
What was there before, right?
Yeah.
So if you remove the Civil Rights Act, what do we go back to, Tim?
The time before civil rights. Well, if you remove the Civil Rights Act, it doesn't go back to the time before necessarily. It takes for the people to then start mistreating you because now you don't have those protections. So it would open up the door to that. And I mean, there's some states that have already removed civil rights protections for transgender already. And
right.
Yeah, so the minute you, just like when they removed a woman's right to choose, then now you need the states to then start preventing a woman from doing it, which they immediately did. So you're right. If they get rid of civil rights protections for minorities, yeah, people are going to then start treating minorities in ways that are less than equal. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, everything they're doing is funny. Just watch the accents and just reference it in the book. We all learn how to study, and watch what you're doing, and then reference it back to the book, right? The book here is Project 2025.
Yeah.
Watch what's happening, and then reference it back to the book.
So how did he? If this is the goal, though, how the hell did he win the Hispanic male vote? He won the female vote by way of the white woman, but because more women voted for Trump than they did for Kamala Harris, but it was mostly white women. If he's here trying to take us back to these bygone eras that you're indicating, how did he win the votes of so many minorities? Are they that dumb? If what you're saying is true,
he convinced them that transgenders were the enemy. He convinced them that the left is trying to change men into women and women into men, and your daughters aren't going to be able to play sports. And they never talk about trans women playing in men's sports. They never talk about that. They never talk about that. It's the fear mongering that they set out, that they always say the other side is doing. Listen, Tim, 90% of the time, if you talk to a black or Hispanic male voter, they won't get past the first 5 minutes before that comes out.
And I guess, like I say on many shows, I just do not get it, because I doubt if anybody watching me has ever been in the bathroom and somebody, from the opposite sex walked in, or has a daughter that's playing against transgender males in school. None of us are dealing with that. I'd be lucky if one person in the comments said, I know somebody that's dealing with it. I mean, it's just like literally nobody is dealing with that, but everybody is concerned about it. I don't understand it.
But when Trump stands up in front last Tuesday, when he stood up in front of the world and he elevated Jennifer Littlejohn and her situation with her daughter at the school, that never happened, by the way. And you tell America this is happening in our schools. They tried to transition her daughter at the school without their knowledge, which was a lie. I'll say it again, which was a lie, right? Jennifer Littlejohn was well aware that her daughter wanted to go to school, and she wanted to go by pronouns they, them. She was well aware of that. It is very.
They're literally eagerly looking for these cases to make them, because, like I said, nobody is dealing with this shit. I don't personally believe that a biological male should be able to play against girls in sports either. I don't believe it should be allowed, but I don't see it being such a huge issue because nobody is fucking dealing with this. One athlete here or there. I think you could probably put a gun to Trump's head, and he couldn't come up with 5 people of this actually dealing with this. Most governors could not come up with 2 or 3 people in their whole state that are dealing with this. It's just not happening to anybody to be getting this much attention.
Exactly. And if it were, they would be parading them. They would be them
right. You would see examples.
100%.
Yeah, this is my same argument against DEI. They say get rid of DEI because we want to hire people with merit, and they're firing all these people that are allegedly DEI. And I'm like, notice they're not showing you the resumes of anybody who actually lacked merit. They fired a lot of DEI hires, and not a single one of them have they come forward and said, here is proof that this person, based on their resume or based on their rank, they never should have got this job. Not one person they've come across and said that. They're just firing them and calling them DEI.
How much evidence have you ever seen about these claims? Just go across the board. With cats and dogs, nope. These women and kids being assaulted in bathrooms, nope. kids being transitioned at school, getting operations. They go to school, a boy, and they get an operation and come back. I mean, which is all absurd.
Yeah, he actually said that you could. Yeah, he said you send your kid to school, and the school sends them home the other gender. Like, I mean, I guess your kid would not come home for 2 or 3 days while they're having surgery, and people believe that parents are sending their child to school and without any permission, the school is changing their gender, which would literally require the school to keep that kid in the hospital for a day or two. And people believe that. I don't understand that.
People believe that their kids are getting some kids are getting an operation in the faculty lounge. What kind of crazy ass shit is that? Like they getting an operation next to the tater tots and the potato salad with the raisins in it. That's just ridiculous, Tim. And here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna land my plane here because everything that we're seeing is chaos for a reason. And it's funny. Somebody gave me this analogy the other day. They asked me, did I remember the movie Die Hard?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. She said, you remember in the movie when they were in that building, they were robbing the vault, right?
Okay.
Remember they were robbing the vault in the basement?
Yeah.
All the hostages and all that stuff, that was just fluff for what they were actually trying to do.
Right.
If you remember the movie.
Yeah, they were trying to get in the safe to get bearer bonds or whatever it was, yeah.
Right. But all of the hostages and all of that other stuff, that was just the show. That was a distraction. That was all the distraction. If you remember, because they took the hostages and they called the police there. But
because he told him this is part. Yeah, he told him this is part of the plan when the police showed him. Don't worry, it's part of the plan.
It's part of the plan, and they gave me that analogy, and I was like, yeah, this is part of the plan. Chaos, right? Like, if you think about that's why he won't answer. If you notice, if he really talking about Trump, if he really was confident that the market was going to bounce back, or we wouldn't go into recession, he would say it.
Yeah. And that's why the market has done even worse now, because he was hesitant to say we were not going to go into a recession.
Right, because
did we go into a recession at all under Biden?
No. Matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because this was my last point. Republicans historically have never handled the economy well, and I know people on that are on YouTube are going to say bullshit. Right?
Trump says it.
I know. But the funny part about it is, if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since 1989 to 2025, Democrats have added 50 million new jobs since 1989 to 2025. You know how many the Republicans have added when they were in power?
How many?
1 million.
You know, I always have to push back. I'll just say in regards to the job thing, to me, bragging that you added jobs don't say shit. How much did the job pay? Is it a career job? Is it Uber? I mean, just say you added jobs don't tell the tale. I mean, what is the salary of that job? I mean, because you could be adding a bunch of McDonald's jobs. I mean, some of those jobs. But I get your point, though. And like I said, go ahead.
I'm glad you said that. What about losing jobs?
That's bad no matter how you do it.
Okay, that's bad no matter how you do it, right? Since 1984 to 2025, Republicans have had 44 months of job loss. 44.
Source. What is the source of that?
Bureau of Labor and Statistics.
All right. You did say that, yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I'll say it again. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, because I try to make sure I give the right information. 44 months of job loss from 1984 to 2025. You know how many months that are recorded on the Bureau of Labor Statistics for the Democrats?
Right.
5.
Well,
5 months. 5 months compared to 44. Because I had somebody early on the live, they were young, so they didn't even remember. They were too young when Obama got elected. And they asked, what were the events that happened to push, Obama to the presidency? And I said, well, it wasn't just him. But the year before, you know how bad the year before was.
You're talking about the housing crash.
The housing crisis. But see, they don't know anything about that. That entire year was negative jobs. That entire year.
I was doing pretty good back then.
Yeah.
It didn't affect me. It didn't affect me. In fact, I wasn't, you know, the reason why I say that, because I wasn't living in America at the time. I was living in Australia back then. When Obama won, I wasn't even in America, so, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because, you know, some people would say, see, Tim, he's a black guy. He was doing just fine. Black people are doing fine.
No,
because they'll take the one example of someone doing well that's a minority and say, see, you guys are fine. That's why the man said it to you today. He said that to you today because he's looking at the optics in you're not on the street, so black folks.
I got people who tell me immigrants live better than Americans. So yeah, they're using extreme examples. Yeah, I think it's insane, but I got to move it on. But yeah, you're right. They're going to pick out Oprah or LeBron James when 99.99999% of black people don't live like that. They're picking out extremes. So,
and most white folks don't do either.
That is true. Mike, thanks for coming through.
Kakistocracy.
Fuck. All right, I'm learning something. Mike always, educates a brother. Appreciate that. Tap the screen. The lazy thumbs in here. We might get 50,000 if some of you folks should have been up higher than that. But tap the screen, get the likes on up. Slow program tonight. Real quick in the comments section. All this caller, I want to read that. All this caller is saying would have been great information for Harris to convey to voters. That's a great point. All she did was say, vote for me because I'm not Trump. I'm a colored woman. I grew up in a middle-class family. Cuz Del Nova. That is a huge, huge point to make, is that regardless of how bad folks may think Trump is, the Democratic messaging sucks. Even right now, the Democrats believe that Trump is not doing a good job. But the Democrats are not offering anything that's really exciting people. I don't know if you can run on I'm not Trump again. That didn't work last year. So bringing that back up in 2026, 2028, I don't know. The Democrats do need to start getting involved in some messaging. Right now, we don't even have a hero. To quote Tina Turner, we need another hero. So I don't know. But I think it's kind of what George Carville is saying. Just let the Republicans hang themselves, but still you have to have somebody that people like. Otherwise, it could be another independent or Republican step up that simply just says, I'm not Trump. I mean, let's say, for instance, Marco Rubio, who is a well-respected Republican politician. Let's say he does what Sarah Huckabee Sanders did. I'm not going to shun MAGA. I'm not going to criticize Trump. But I don't really like the path that we're going down. So I'm just going to resign and step out of the way. So he leaves still with respect of MAGA and Republicans because he didn't get it on Trump's nerve. But now he's free. And then he pops up in 2028 and runs. If the liberals don't have a decent candidate to put forward, you can still get another Republican like that. So the liberals do need to improve their messaging. Just simply yelling out, I'm not Trump is, in my opinion, what Cuz Del Nova, I agree with that. It's not enough. You need to actually sell some shit, not just tell people you're avoiding this. But in regards to what my last caller pointed out, here is the clip of Trump saying exactly what he stated.
I've been now around long. I think of myself as a young guy, but I'm not so young anymore. And I've been around for a long time. And it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. Now, it shouldn't be that way. But if you go back, it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats.
Well, it certainly did well under Clinton. But I wouldn't suggest it was so great under Jimmy Carter.
That's true.
If you remember the interest rates.
No, I know. It's Jimmy Carter was not in the same thing. But certainly we had some very good economies under Democrats as well as Republicans. But we've had some pretty bad disaster under the Republicans.
Now
I've been now around long.
Now that's before the invention of AI. For some of you AI folks, it's actually dated March 21st, 2004. So that clip is 21 years old, and you can see Trump's comb over looked a little bit better. He certainly is not orange in that picture. He looks a little bit more flesh-like, but yeah, he is admitting at that time that. And by the way, while he was talking. I don't know what the rest of this clip is for you. I need it in context, but in regards to this clip, they have on the bottom of the screen there, Trump in many cases identifies as a Democrat. And I think he's on video also saying that before in the past too, that he identifies as a Democrat. But he is admitting the economy does better under Democrats. I don't know what made him change his mind, but at that time he said that. They're going to say he didn't mean that, says Farah. Well, I don't know if I wouldn't say he didn't mean it. Maybe he just changed his mind at this point. I don't believe Trump is a Democrat, though. I mean, a Republican. I don't believe Trump is a Republican. I believe Trump is Trump. I believe that Trump has a lot in common. You're not going to understand when I say this, but I'll explain it in detail. I believe that Trump has a lot in common with Bernie Sanders. Sounds ridiculous. I get it. But Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat, just like Trump is not a Republican. But both of these men, in a system where money matters, had to run as either a Democrat or Republican to get access to the coffers of the party. You can't run as an independent and really get a good chance of winning. You need money. So Trump technically should have ran as an independent and ran his own party. So should Bernie Sanders, because the Democratic Party is not socialist as the way Bernie Sanders is. But Bernie Sanders gained a lot of favoritism to the point where a lot of Democrats who were not socialists like his platform. Just like Trump, who's not a traditional Bush, Mitt Romney, John McCain type Republican, but he gained a lot of favoritism to the point where a lot of traditional Republicans now like his platform. Both Bernie Sanders and Trump were shunned originally by the traditional party that they were running under. The traditional Republicans do not like Trump. The traditional Democrats do not like Bernie Sanders, because both of them realize if this individual if they get to the top of the ticket, they're going to fundamentally change what our party has stood for generations. The Democrats were able to stop Bernie Sanders from doing that, because if Bernie Sanders had to reach the top of the ticket, the likes of Nancy Pelosi's and all of them would have had to take a back seat. He was going to fundamentally change what the Democratic Party stood for. Now, some people may like that. Trump actually was not able to be stopped, and he actually won and reached the top of the Republican Party. And I think it's hard to deny that he didn't change the fundamental traditional way the party has ran for generations. The Republican Party is no longer the same party anymore. He changed it. So they have a lot in common. Other than obviously their politics are polar opposite, but the way they ran, how they did it, all of that. Bernie Sanders and Trump have a lot in common, and they had to run as a Democrat and run as a Republican to get access to the money. That's what I'm saying when I say that they're very similar from that aspect. But the Democrats were able to stop Bernie Sanders. Good chance that if the Democrats did not stop Bernie Sanders, he would have served 2 terms, and I think the country will be ran in a way that is far more favorable to Democrats than what we're dealing with now. But I didn't vote for him, and many of you folks didn't either. Looking in the comments, though. So if you want to love this country because of this dumb motherfucker, the Don made me think again, you have no rights. Let me read that again, Ian. You said, so if you want to leave this country because of this dumb motherfucker, the Don, maybe think again, you have no rights. I don't quite get that, but people are talking about leaving the country because of Trump, but I don't know what you mean when you say you have no rights. You'd have to explain that part of it. Oh, great. Hopefully you never live in a totalitarian dictatorship. Hopefully you are right. Let me go back to the box. Don't know what I'm hitting here. We'll go to Sherbert on Instagram. Good evening, Sherbert. Welcome to the program if it brings you up. We're on Instagram and TikTok, so we'll see what happens there. There you go, Sherbert. Good evening.
How's it going, Tim?
How's it going? All right. You've been listening.
I thought you were never going to pull up Instagram.
I got you. I got you covered like a blanket. So what do you think? The economy under Trump, can this come back? Can it bounce back? I mean, do you see Trump bringing us to glory, improving Biden at all?
No.
Why not?
I think he's going to destroy the entire system within the next 2 years. And then by the time, Democrats get back into power during the midterms, it's all going to be over. Everything will be in such shambles it'll take 20 years, and then people will forget, and then it won't matter at that point.
What is the goal of having a president destroy his own country? Why do you think you can't? You know, it reminds me almost of the movie Under Siege with what was the guy's name? Steven Seagal and the other guy Gary Busey. Is like, shame on you for trying to kill your own crew. He had them underwater and was trying to drown them all. And like, shame on you for killing your own crew. What would be the benefit of Trump destroying his own country?
Well, it's pretty clear he wants to be a dictator. He said he wanted to be a dictator on day one. The same way he's going to lower prices on day one. And that shit's lasting forever before he actually gets it done. He's going to be a dictator forever. But he's getting rich off of this, even more than he ever was. So there's nowhere else to go. He just wants the money. He doesn't care. He keeps setting up all these press conferences because he's a narcissist and wants to be in everyone's spotlight, even if it means destroying everything.
You're talking about a man
in the history books.
Yeah, but you're talking about a man that's worth billions of dollars, wants to destroy his country. Huh?
He wants to be in the history books. It's hard to make history by doing the good things. It's pretty easy to make history by fucking shit up.
I think Trump was deeply embedded in the history books after his first term already. He didn't need to get. I mean, he done so many things that are non-traditional from his first term. January 6th, for instance, he's already in the history books. I mean, the trials, the indictments, he was going to be in the history books no matter what.
Yeah, but he'll be even more now. But I'm also a pretty big fan of that he's a Russian puppet. And what does it matter if the country burns if he gets anything that he negotiated with Putin?
What could that possibly be? Why would he want to?
I don't even know, but it doesn't make sense what he's doing. When you look at... Okay, so Tim, let me ask you this question. If Trump was a Russian asset, what would he do to give Putin everything he wanted? And when you look at it, it's everything that he's been doing. I can't tell you anything other than it looks like he's a puppet because he keeps doing everything that favors Putin in every possible way. We're ruining our trade relationship with Mexico and Canada for no reason. Yeah. And all of these people are saying, oh, it'll be fine. No. When a house costs even more after the market has said it's way too high.
I don't,
a tree house, let alone a full house.
I can't speak on it totally, but I can agree with you that he is incredibly favorable to Putin. I don't think that that's up for debate. Now, people are talking about he wants to just do what it takes to get a ceasefire, but he has been speaking favorably of Putin even before the war broke out. He was speaking favorably of Putin.
Do you remember the love letters between all the dictators? He actually published a book with all those. It might have been just with Xi Jinping. No. North Korea? Kim Jong-un. It might have just been a book about his letters with Kim Jong-un, but he literally published a book with all of his letters from dictators and his letters to dictators. So why wouldn't I believe he's a puppet? Why wouldn't I believe he wants to destroy the country? Because even at like a quarter of its productivity, he would still be the one with the iron fist taking control and ruling everybody. Because that's what he wants. He's a narcissist. He wants to be the king. He already said he wants to be the king.
Do you think you could successfully maintain a dictatorship in this country? Do you think the citizens of this country...
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if he can. He's going to. Because he doesn't give a fuck.
How would the people react to that, though, is what I'm asking.
Wait, Tim, do you really think he cares about keeping power? He just wants to get power. He's going to die soon. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. He's going to do everything to break the system.
Yeah, but Sherbert,
he wants to break stuff.
Sherbert, failed dictators often get killed by their own people. If you're going to be a dictator, and you don't get it right, it's possible that your own people can get you.
Do you remember Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about Nancy Pelosi being a traitor and what the Constitution says we do to traitors?
Yes.
I guarantee you they're not going to say shit if they come down on Trump and say, like, hey, we're kicking you out under the 14th Amendment, I believe, because you're not helping the country at all. And I guarantee they're not going to breathe a word about that part of the system, about everything they said about Nancy Pelosi, even though she didn't do very much. I'm not saying she's a good person, but she didn't do very much compared to this shit.
Well, the crazy thing is, a lot of the country favors what Trump is doing. Before you continue, hang on. Naeem Barber, you says they're hiding your content and I'm subscribed. How is your, what do you mean hiding it? Hiding it in what way? Name me, let me know. But a lot of the country, despite the fact that he's fired tens of thousands of folks, you're right about him favoring Vladimir Putin, isolating or insulting our allies like crazy. A lot of the country still are riding with him. Why is that?
Well, one of my more favorite things that I've been hearing and makes sense is if we go into a recession and all of these companies close, then they have to sell at a fire sale, and then Trump and all his investors and all of his buddies that are spending $5 million per dinner with him, they all get to buy cheap, and they buy equipment and they buy facilities at these fire sales. And so it doesn't matter if the system goes down, their children and their children's children will have set up the next setting, system for the economy to thrive on.
But if America turns into, if the system goes down and America turns into Mad Max or something like that, you think billionaires are just going to be able to live lavish? I mean, you talking about zombies and apocalypse at that point.
I didn't say that.
I did. I mean, you're gonna be living in your gated community while I'm starving. I mean, we do got the guns, I don't know about that.
I mean, they might start. Would you really think that Trump wouldn't invite all these billionaires to live on military bases?
It's a good point.
For the in-between time, I could see that in a heartbeat. Hey, Bezos, come down to Fort Bragg or whatever the fuck we're calling it now.
I just hold on real quick while you were talking. I got an ABC News, something popped up on the device from X. Trump has just revoked something from President Biden. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it might have got rid of his security detail or something. I don't know, but Trump he revoked a raft of Biden's official security clearances. So
he's being petty. He's a very petty person. It's real sad that these people look up to him and then look up to Elon just because they have money. Money doesn't really mean anything if you're proven to be an idiot.
Yeah, it says he also, Biden's intelligence access to president's daily brief has been revoked, so he took that from him. Wow.
That's not too big of a deal, though, is it? Like, how long do presidents normally get that? Because honestly,
it's not a big deal, but it's just a respect for the office, respect for.
Oh, he has no respect for the office.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He has no respect for anything other than dictators, and apparently Elon Musk, because he's the richest man in the world, and that's literally all Trump cares about.
Yeah, I wonder if he's revoked it from Obama too. It wouldn't surprise me.
I would be more surprised if Obama still had access.
Yeah. I heard, now I had one of my guests on earlier, Dencal, said that there were some streets or something that was named after Obama, that he's trying to change that.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
And
as I just said, he's one of the people I've ever seen. Well, of course he's going to change everything. He'll probably just name it to Trump Avenue and Trump Jr. Avenue and Eric Trump Avenue. And, would that really surprise you? Or Elon Musk kid's name. What about the X23 whatever? Would you be too, as we start seeing that name come up as a street name?
At this point, I'm going to say no, but that is like super petty. We talk about Trump derangement syndrome. It sounds like he is the individual that's acting in a deranged manner.
Yeah. I've been saying that for a while. Everyone keeps saying, like, hey, look at his first 4 years. It wasn't so bad. We ran a deficit spending every year, even though the economy was so good. If the economy was so good, we wouldn't have run a deficit. And he did it literally every year before COVID, and then obviously during COVID. Yeah. So everyone that says he's such a great businessman, the economy was doing so well, why would we ever run a deficit? Why are we spending our credit cards when we're doing so good? The best no one's ever seen anything like this before.
Well, despite what you're saying, I got MAGA coming on the program that say his face should be in the front of Mount Rushmore. So they have a hell of a different view than you do. I mean, I got people who have literally said he should be on Mount Rushmore.
Those are the Trump sexuals, and you know it. But Tim, one last thing. Do you remember while Biden was still in office and Trump was taking credit for the stock market 3 years after he got out, and they're saying, oh yeah, it's from me, and it's because they know I'm coming back. And then within 60 days, the stock market goes down, and then he blames it on Biden, even though he was taking credit 3 to 4 years after he left.
Well,
it just doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think we all know that if anything goes wrong during Trump's administration, it's going to be blamed on somebody. Because right now, I will tell you this: Elon Musk is putting himself in literally in the path of the firing squad. Because if something go wrong, Trump is going to say, "I never told him to fire all those people." That's what's going to happen.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it's real funny when these people think that the internet doesn't really exist and it's not forever. We can look back at all these things that he said in 2015, 2016, 2017, literally every single year.
That was AI.
Some mad shit.
That was AI.
Which is funny because AI is more likely to be a thing now.
Yeah.
But while they were saying this shit, you couldn't really do that.
No, you couldn't.
Except for the crazy hackers and photo editors.
Yeah.
There were some people, but not nearly as much as they could be now for what a 20.
But if Trump says it was AI, I don't care if it was in 1989. If Trump says it was AI, damn it, they gonna believe it was AI.
But that's kind of a problem, isn't it?
That's where we're at.
But they don't trust the government. But then when Trump's in and it clearly doesn't make any sense anymore, then they start believing all those numbers, and it's so dumb. And I'm really tired of the dumb.
No.
All these people argue in bad faith, and when you ask them for any real evidence or policy or literally anything, they come up with the headlines and then nothing else. They don't have any real reasons for anything other than Trump's pretty cool, right? But he said it was those trans kids. It was those kids getting surgeries in the schools, even though they can't get them aspirin.
You know, when you mentioned
surgery.
When you mentioned trans, I saw an article today with Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, on the front of it. And now you know Caitlyn or Bruce or whatever you want to, that person voted for Trump. And I'm thinking to myself, like, when you think about how accepting the community, this Caitlyn Jenner, very unattractive, appeared on the front of magazines like Vanity Fair and all of that shit. They gave her nothing but acceptance, and she voted for the party that doesn't even want to acknowledge the ability to transgender. I'm like,
well, do you remember she killed a person like right before the Woman of the Year thing in a car accident, and then they swept it underneath the rug?
Yep.
Nobody gives a shit. They're just going to vote in bad faith. I'm so tired of these people.
Well, you'll get some rest in about You'll get some rest in about 3.5 years, man.
I have a trans sister.
Oh, really?
So all of this really drives me absolutely crazy. It's just the new way of being, fighting against the gays and promoting hate and segregation.
Did your sister vote for Trump? No chance, huh?
Not even close. She would. Well, no, I don't want to say that. That would.
All right, I gotta move it on, Sherbert. Appreciate it.
Have a good night, Tim.
You too. Thank you. Looking in the comments as always. Will says MAGA ain't shit. Was going to comment this yesterday, but I was too busy driving. It's almost as if MAGA wants MAGA wants the highest bar and obstacles for people of color for high positions, but the smallest excuses to die? Wait a minute, did I read that right? MAGA wants the highest bar and obstacle for people of color for high positions, but the smallest excuses to die? I don't get the die part. But I do believe that getting rid of affirmative action and getting rid of DEI is not going to be beneficial to black people. I do believe that. And I don't think it's just about merit. I think if you get rid of DEI and if you get rid of affirmative action, it does give people the right to discriminate again. I do believe that. I mean, you're getting rid of all the protections that used to prevent that and expecting the people not to do what they used to do. We've seen what happened when they got rid of laws allowing a woman to choose. Well, they went right back to a time when women were not given the right to choose. So if you get rid of civil rights, or if you get rid of affirmative action or DEI, chances are really good that people are going to go back to what they used to do. I don't I don't think anything otherwise. I certainly believe that would happen. Good luck getting power from Canada. Shuts your power off. Well, they're not going to shut power off to the whole United States. I'm not near the Canadian border, so that won't affect me. I'm not in an area that imports power from Canada. That, I don't know how would America take that? You make a whole metropolitan area go dark. Damn. I'm assuming that's not an act of war. But that really would strengthen the divide between America and Canada. I don't even think what is that guy's name? He's the premier of Ontario down in Canada. Ford or whatever his name is. He's the one that's talking about doing that. I don't think that he wants to do that, because I'm assuming that he realizes that by shutting off power to thousands of Americans, he's hurting people that probably don't support Trump themselves. Innocent victims that do not have a choice in the tariff war that Trump is imposing. I don't think he wants to do that. But at the same time, he is standing up for his country, and Trump is trying to trash the Canadian economy. So he's got to do what he's got to do. But I don't think he even wants to do it. But, you know, if Trump leaves him no choice, shit, I kind of understand. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, they came up with all the smallest excuses for them to die. I think you just clarified that. But they don't want to see another Obama or Harris. I get your point now. I totally get your point now. Yeah. If you're African American and you're killed by a white cop, yeah, you don't need to do much for people to say it was justified. I get your point now, Will, and I've seen enough that I have no choice but to agree with it. I mean, I've seen enough folks lose their life, and folks give the cops the flimsiest excuses as a reason why it was justified. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with the likes of, to me, I think another one who wasn't a cop, what is his name? George Zimmerman, the guy who killed Trayvon Martin in Florida, who was found not guilty, by the way. In my opinion, if you create a scuffle, you create an incident, and then you have to defend yourself from an incident you created, I don't think you should be able to use the stand your ground law. I mean, that's like me literally arming myself to the teeth, arming myself with as many concealed weapons as I can, everything from pistols to hand grenades, and then walking into a KKK meeting and saying some shit that leads to them getting up and wanting to, you know, bestow violence on me or something like that. And then I'm pulling out my weapons and mowing them all down. I only came in there because I was carrying a lot of heat and deliberately put myself in a dangerous situation because I knew they would do something to provoke me to take them out. I don't think you should be able to stand your ground in that area. When you literally put yourself in a dangerous situation because you got a gun. I brought this up before, whether it's Kyle Rittenhouse, George Zimmerman. There's been a few other cases like that where people do stuff solely because they're armed. Now, I think Kyle Rittenhouse was self-defense. I'm not going to take that away from him, but he wouldn't have been there if he didn't have a gun. I think some people do that. You know, gun gives them power. They put themselves in a dumb, dangerous situation simply because they know they can shoot their way out of it. And George Zimmerman is a perfect case of that, running off and chasing somebody down in the middle of the night because you got a gun. Take away the gun, he's not chasing Trayvon Martin through the dark like that. Looking in the comments, though, look at Canada's new prime minister for CBDC bankers. See the connections yet. I haven't seen I have not seen the new prime minister of Canada yet. He just took office. Is it today or yesterday? I haven't seen what he looks like yet. Now that he's replaced Trudeau. Honestly, the only people I've personally seen really benefit from DEI were people from India. Well, you know, in regards to DEI, here's my pushback on that. I think I've used this before on the program. Let's say you got 50 people working for you, and DEI requires you hire 10 people that consist of women, minorities, and members of the LGBTQ community. So you can keep 40 of them, whatever you want. Maybe they're all white. But 10 of these people, which is what, 20% of your workforce, 10 of these people have to be DEI. Why do we automatically assume that the 10 people you find are not going to have merit? That's where I have a big issue with this. Why do we automatically assume that anybody that's DEI does not have merit? Okay, you got to go out and find 10 DEI people, but maybe they're all Harvard graduates. Maybe they all came straight out of West Point. They may have more merit than the other 40 people that are white. Why do we automatically assume they have no merit? That's why I'm saying that Trump is firing all of these DEI people. And if you notice, he is not showing any evidence that they lacked merit. They're just yelling it out. We need merit. Okay, you just got rid of a 4-star general that you appointed during your first term. Where is the evidence he didn't have any merit? It's not, in fact, I don't know anyone that Trump or Elon is fired while yelling DEI that they've been able to genuinely show that this person lacked merit and should never have been on that job. I haven't seen one person yet that they've done that to. And they've been firing a whole lot of people yelling DEI and lack of merit. You should be able to easily show us, here's a colonel that is Hispanic or a woman or a member of the LGBTQ community. And here he's only been in the military for 2 years. How the hell did he make colonel? He clearly does not have the merit. They should be able to show you that. They're not showing you that on anybody. Not one person have they terminated for DEI where they've shown you that this person lacked merit. They're just saying it. So I have a problem with that because I don't believe that if you have to hire someone that's a minority, a female, or a person of color, that you only have to hire people that lack merit. You can find plenty of folks in those categories that have merit as well, which is why they're not telling you. So that's just my opinion on it. I think that they're making up the lack of merit part to justify just firing what probably amounts to highly qualified people. They're just making up an excuse to fire them. Looking in the comments, United President said, we do not care about merit. We need more diversity, regardless if they are the best or not, says James Stocky. Well, when you're talking about the president of a company saying that we do not care about merit, we need diversity regardless if they are the best or not, that's a private enterprise, though. And if the president of United, the airline, I suppose that is, you put in a whole bunch of people that do not have merit, and then there's major issues with your airline, you're going to destroy your business. But once again, I go back to my original statement. I don't see anybody being put forward where they can show this person had no damn reason at all to have this job. Here's their resume. This person is straight out of high school. How the hell did they become a captain of an aircraft or something? I don't see them producing anybody like that. They're just yelling out DEI, no merit. Show some evidence. I haven't seen it at all. Not one person. They got rid of an admiral. They got rid of the head of the Coast Guard. Show me why this person should have never been allowed to head the Coast Guard. It was a woman. Show me why this person did not have the merit to be an admiral. It's not coming out from any of these people. They just fire. And by the way, just about everybody they're terminating is being replaced with a white dude. And in many cases, the white guy has less merit than the person they fired. It doesn't, some ain't passing the smell test, in my opinion. Yes, I was thinking about that pilot, the air traffic controller. And that was the thing. You had a plane go down in the Potomac. Trump is on TV while the bodies are still in the aircraft underwater talking about DEI. You notice there's been no follow through from that at all. No explanation as to why he said that. No suggestion of who he was even talking about. Who did not have any merit to be in the captain's seat, flying the Black Hawk, in the air traffic control. Who lacked merit? Notice he hasn't produced anyone. So I just pointed out that sometimes he just gets out there and puts the cart before the horse. And in some of these cases, you can really cause people great anguish by doing that. Prove your work. This is the whole thing I often bring up with the Haitian migrants are eating cats and dogs. Okay, you're in office now. Show us some evidence of what you're talking about. Just saying wild shit and nobody's holding them accountable for saying that. You're in a position of power. Show us what you were talking about. Show us who you were talking about. Nothing. And his supporters are not asking him. Like, just buying it with no connection to it. Anyhow, DEI is the new N-word, says Will. DEI is the new N-word, and waste, fraud, and abuse is the new weapons of mass destruction campaign. Damn. I don't know about the weapons of mass destruction campaign, but I do agree that DEI is starting to sound a lot like black people. I do believe that. Let me go back to the box. I do believe that is starting to be somewhat accurate, in my opinion. Shiv has been holding on there. Good evening, Shiv McNasty. Gacy Grandma says they don't know what it is. I would like to know what it is as well. Shiv, good evening.
Hey, Tim, how you been?
I'm doing good. Good to have you back on. The economy is taking a turn for the worse. Is this temporary suffering, as a lot of Trump supporters might suggest, or do you see it getting even worse before it getting better?
Oh, no, he's going to do whatever he can to wreck it. This is also him and his friends can buy it up cheap when everything crashes. It's intentional.
So you too believe that they're trying to deliberately destroy the country?
Well, yeah, I mean, just look at what Elon's doing, right? He's doing all these things where he's helping the country and finding fraud and abuse, and yet somehow everything that he's getting back seems to be funneled right to his companies. He's getting the Verizon thing for the FCC and Starlink and $400 million for armored Cybertrucks, and he's going to send his rockets up to get the people out of space, although that rocket exploded, so maybe not that rocket.
In regards to, before I'll let you continue, but in regards to his rockets exploding, which that has happened twice now, how does that not count as waste, fraud, and abuse? Is that all coming out of his pocket?
Well, no, I mean, he's getting government grants to do stuff. So that government money is going wherever he wants it to go. And I'm pretty sure he's got some sort of government grants for Starlink. So if he's blowing up rockets in not Starlink, I'm sorry, SpaceX, whatever stupid company name he has. If he's blowing up rockets there, then yeah, some of that has to be government money because he's getting grants to do the space stuff. So
that is our tax. So when them rockets blow up, that is our tax dollars going up in flames.
At least some of it. At least some of it has to be, because you can't get to space without a rocket.
That is true. So
maybe Elon can. Maybe he can snort enough ketamine to fucking fly there, but nobody else can.
So I don't get this. So you two, all of my guests, I need to talk to somebody on the right maybe, because you guys all seem to think that Trump and Elon, I guess to some degree, are deliberately trying to destroy this country. I'm being told the liberals are the ones that hate America. You're telling me that they...
Well, yeah, of course they are. Of course you are. They're not going to say, we're the ones that hate America. They're going to point the finger at somebody else.
Do you think the typical Trump supporter, the typical MAGA, wants them to destroy this country?
No, MAGA believes everything Trump says. He could piss on their heads and tell them it's raining. They'd be like, I guess I better go get my umbrella.
Come on now, you don't...
They believe everything he says. He says the tariffs are good. And they're like, yeah, tariffs are great. No, the tariffs are hurting us, so we're going to pull them back. Yeah, tariffs are bad. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he says. He could say that black people are white, and they'd be like, yeah, stupid white people. It doesn't matter. They're in a cult.
I don't know. You're really putting down MAGA. I mean, you're making it
because they're idiots.
You're making it sound like they're incapable of free thought.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly the problem. They're incapable of free thought because they're in a cult.
I don't know. I mean, all of a sudden, he's won the Hispanic vote, at least for male Hispanics. He's won the women's vote. They can't all be in a cult.
Well, no. Okay, listen. Not everybody who voted for Trump is in a cult. I want you to understand this.
Okay.
A bunch of Republicans voted for Trump because he's a con man. He went everywhere, and somebody said, "Mr. Trump, this demographic wants this and this. Then, Mr. Trump, this demographic wants that and that." And he went there and he told them, "I'm going to give you the thing that you want." And they were like, "Yay! I want the thing." And so they voted for him. And also, there's a lot of racism and misogyny in this country. And a black woman was running. So some people, I'm not going to say all, but there are some people who were like, "I'm not voting for a woman."
Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to a lot of. I talked to more people that did not like Kamala Harris because she was a woman than because she was black. Yeah. I mean, I had one of my MAGA viewers who happened to be black tell me flat out that only a pussy for a man would vote for a woman as his president. So I had people tell me
right, and a lot of that machismo goes around in the Latin community. Machismo is a Latin word, so think about it.
I can't argue with that. So at the end of the day, then, is it safe to suggest that we need to, from the Democrat side of the aisle, they need to put forth a man? Don't even find a woman. Some people talk about AOC and stuff like that. Just leave women alone.
AOC can run as vice president, but if I had my choice, I'd probably go, two choices. One's unrealistic. The other one is quite possible.
Give me
First choice, unrealistic choice. First choice, unrealistic choice would be Jon Stewart. I think he'd be great at the job. But second, realistic choice, possible choice, somebody who's probably actually doing it, is Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz has a very good chance of running and a very good chance of winning.
The guy known as Tampon Tim by the right, you think he could win?
Yeah, because he's not known as Tampon Tim by the right. He's known as Tampon Tim by MAGA, and MAGA's a bunch of idiots in a cult. We've established.
Well, he is a white man. He does qualify as that.
He's a white old man. He is like, you would want to hang out and have a beer with this guy. He's a football coach. He was in the National Guard for like 20 years. Like, he's a dude. He's just a guy. Like,
I hear you.
Him. He's like,
let me just say, I hear what you're saying, but he didn't help Kamala Harris out at all. Not at all.
He didn't have any control over that. The DNC told them what to do because the DNC owns the Democratic Party during all that election shit. The DNC is a private company, just like the RNC. They get to pick and choose who runs and what they do. Like, they have to sign off on these things. So he didn't do anything because he was just picked as vice president. If he was president, he'd have had more say. He was just vice president. When they did let him talk early on, before Biden's crew got in and started running the show, he was calling them weird. People were loving him. They loved Tim Walz for about a month. And then the Biden team came back and they were like, "Look, we're running this election. You're going to do this, 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 and this." And then they started doing things the way the Democrats always do the things, wishy-washy, center of a road, not trying to rock the boat, and they fucking lost because nobody wants to hear that crap anymore. We're tired of it. Everyone's tired of it. It's just, we're going to do just enough to keep you coming back for more. Nobody wants that. They want change now.
I don't think that I think Tim Walz is still viewed as probably too progressive. I mean, I can see him.
Maybe, but give it 4 years of this nonsense and then come back to me.
A good point.
Give it 2 years and then come back.
You know who I think would have
look a lot better.
You know who I think would have a better chance?
Newsom, but no, thank you.
No, not Newsom. Fetterman.
Oh God, no, Fetterman. No, not Fetterman.
Fetterman, because
Fetterman's an awful person.
What makes you say that?
Well, he used to be a good person. Then he had a stroke and his brain melted, and now he's like the biggest champion of Israel that has ever been. And Israel, need I remind you, is committing a genocide day by day since October 7th of a year ago.
Listen. I certainly believe Israel has really went way beyond anything resembling self-defense. But to me, the Democrats speaking out in favor of Palestine is very similar to speaking out in favor of the transgender community. It is a toxic issue, and it's only going to cost votes. I think the Democrats should avoid talking about Palestinians and should avoid talking about the transgender going forward. You can do what you want to do once you're in there, just like what Trump has done Trump and Elon are firing everybody. They didn't run on that. I don't think that you should run on the transgender community or run on that whole Gaza Palestinian situation. Just Lead it, because that's toxic.
I'm not arguing with that.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with that, but the problem is that he will support Israel no matter what. So you don't have to talk about it, but he's still going to support Israel. People are still going to know that. And if you don't talk about it, the people who are going to be largely Democratic, that are the ones that are supporting Palestine, aren't going to vote for him. Just like the ones that were largely Democratic didn't go out and vote for Kamala.
I think Tim Walz is likely to support Israel, too. I mean, everybody's going to support Israel. They got too much damn money.
Not as hard as that dude does. I think Tim Walz can draw a line in the sand, whereas Fetterman's just like, yep, just keep giving me money.
I mean, they were calling Joe Biden and Kamala Harris genocide Joe. I mean, so
they
shit.
Were. I'm not saying they're any better, but you can't be the worst person against Palestine and expect to get any kind of votes from the left at all. They'll just not vote. So you can't do that.
You know what I would
you know what? I'm not voting for anybody. Fuck them.
You know what I would tell the left if they decided to do that shit again, like when they were interrupting Kamala Harris and Biden rallies. Do you want Trump? Like you're bitching. You don't live in Gaza, motherfucker. Do you want Trump because he's in your neighborhood?
Some people just stand on principle, and that's the most important thing to them. And there's nothing you can do to change that. But here's one thing I did want to bring up. You were talking to a pimp named Slickback or something, pimp named Furback, and I wanted to paint a picture for you. Here's what we're going to do. Well, first, Tim, I don't know if you know this, but I'm white. I'm lily white. I'm snow white. I'm so white that if I were any whiter, I'd be translucent. Okay? So you and me, we're going to play a game of Monopoly, all right?
Okay.
We're going to play with house rules. You down?
Sure.
All right, so here's the rules. I get to go 250 times, 250 turns, and then you can play.
I've used that example. I know where you're going with this.
So that's the whole thing. White people have generational wealth. I'm a broke white dude. I grew up poor. I still have some generational wealth. My father owned some land. I have that now. He owned a brand new Ford truck. I have that now. There are so many black people that have nothing. Yeah. Don't even know who their fathers are. Grew up in a house with like 4 or 5 brothers and sisters. Broke in the projects. There's no generational wealth. That's the key. Yeah. White people do have a massive advantage just on the fact that they are white. Not everybody. There are poor white people, but we're grading on a scale here.
Yeah, I get so many. Yeah, I've used the whole. You get to go around a bunch of times while I sit on go and you're buying up all the properties in the Monopoly game and all of that. You're buying the railroads, you're picking all the community and chance cards, you're doing the whole thing. And then on the 20th go around, well, you use 250, which is even more significant. But on the 250,
slavery was around.
Yeah, and then on the 250 of revolution, okay, now you're free. You can go around as well. Well, by that point, every time I roll the dice, I'm on one of your properties. There's nothing left to buy. So I'm going to be continuing to go bankrupt in the game the whole time because, yeah, you got all of this free land and things like that. I do agree with that. That is what has happened. But you are correct.
Well, let me add to that.
Sure.
Let me add to that. You forgot we're playing by house rules, so I'm going to invoke the Jim Crow rules. And that means you can't go to any of my businesses. We have special places for you to go. You can't drink out of my water fountains. You can't get a job at any of these places. If you want to ride on the railroads, it's going to cost you double. Electricity, water, that's all going to cost you double. We're going to pay you half. We're going to keep you in jail because we have for-profit prisons because that's a great idea. So not only do you have that, you have to deal with all of those Jim Crow era laws for about 50 turns, and then that'll go away. And now you can just play regular Monopoly.
They don't make a lot of white people like you, dude. They don't make a lot of white people like you.
White people, they're a bunch of assholes.
You're definitely
all the rich jerks are white people. Screw them.
You definitely giving away the game. I'll tell you that much. They're gonna take away your white card.
Here's everything. I will pull that curtain down and burn it.
Damn.
I am all about truth and fairness. I don't care. I want you all to know what's happening.
Wow.
Fuck these people. They're trying to destroy you.
Damn. You make for a good guess. Next thing I know, they're gonna take away your white card and drop you off at a cookout. That's what they're gonna do. Drop you off with your hands behind your back at a cookout.
People, man. I grew up every neighborhood. Even right now, I live in a very Hispanic neighborhood. I'm the only one here that speaks full English. Everybody else looks at me like, "Kid." I don't care. These people are great. They work all the time. They're fantastic human beings. They come up and hand me like a plate of tacos. We can't even talk. I don't care. They're fantastic.
Wow. Nobody's eating cats and dogs?
No, there's no Haitians here, and no cats and dogs either. That's also bullshit, but I don't need to tell you that.
I 100% agree. Shiv, appreciate it. Good talk, man. Thank you.
Anytime, man. Always love to come on here.
Absolutely a pleasure having you. My doors are always open. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. I did want to respond to a super chat. Says we knew there were no weapons of mass destruction, but Bush still forced it. Bush still forced it. We knew there were no weapons of mass destruction, no WMDs, but Bush still forced it and messed other countries up, and war hawks got millions. There will be, you said there will be with waste, fraud, abuse on our own country, and the oligarchs will ball out. Well, everybody is suggesting that. I don't know. I need to get a MAG. I'm going to go to MAGA Reacts. I'm curious because I'm hearing everybody suggesting that Trump is somehow, some way trying to destroy this country. Jesus. I mean, that's just horrible.
How do you both bring me up too quick and take forever sometimes?
You sound like my ex-wife.
Anyway, that last guy contradicted himself like 10 times.
What do you mean?
He said she didn't win because she's black, because she's a woman. Then it's because the DNC held back, what's his name, Waltz. And, they keep saying we're fluffing.
Well, no, wait. He said that I said that Tim Walz did not help Kamala Harris out. He said the DNC was telling them what to do. But what he said...
It was one of the reasons. How did she lose because she's black or because she's a woman? When we have a laundry list, like 2 hours worth of talk about all the different ways she fucked up and all the different ways she lost, all the different reasons she lost.
No, I don't.
Are you gonna say it's because she's black or because she's a woman?
No, I don't think the only reason Kamala Harris lost is because she's a woman or her being black. But I'm saying that with a hell of a lot of voters, that did not help, and certainly her being a woman really didn't help. Like what he pointed out, my last caller pointed out, what I agree with is that machismo in the Hispanic community, where they don't believe that a woman should have that hierarchy. A lot of people believe in God, man, woman, child. They don't believe a woman should be at that level. He's right about that.
I mean, it's one of the reasons, like you said, but it's not the reason.
Okay. There is no single reason why she lost.
Obama would have ran, she would have won.
Yeah, there's no single reason. There's no single reason why she lost. The Democratic messaging was pathetic. She only had 100 and something days because of Biden. I think Biden probably is the biggest reason she lost because he wouldn't step down soon enough. But I mean, there's a bunch of reasons. She didn't do interviews. She didn't go on Joe Rogan. She said, I grew up in a middle class family too many damn times. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different reasons.
Okay, so why are we even talking about the fact that she's black or a woman is the reason? You know why? Because it polarizes them. And it gives them a reason to be on the side they're on because they're in the fucking cult.
I don't agree with that. I'll tell you this. You're telling me her being black and being a woman didn't hurt her at all, in your opinion?
No, that's true, but I can't prove it wrong. But again, it didn't hurt Obama to be black, and until a woman wins, we'll find out for real when a woman actually wins, and then we'll know for sure if it's her or if it's her sex. But you can't, they talk about it like it's the only reason she lost, and it's not.
Well, you don't get that here. I just gave you a host of reasons that I believe. I put Biden right at the top of the pyramid. If Biden had to step down and not ran for a second term, I think if Kamala Harris had, a full term to run, like Trump started running in the summer of 2023. If Kamala Harris had that long to run, I think she would have been far more competitive because she would have had time to correct shit, like grew up in a middle class family or getting on the View and all of that stuff. She would have had a lot more time to correct that stuff. Like Trump saying that, he wanted.
But that's who she is, though. That's just who she is. She can't change who she is.
You can.
She'd only seem inauthentic if she did.
Well,
because all those things you're pointing out, I saw that from back when she was a senator. She had those problems. That's why I was surprised when Biden picked her, because she had those problems from day one. She was like that in the Senate, making all the same gaffes, making all the same mistakes, always talking she would always have memorized things as her talking points in any Senate hearing back when she was a senator.
Don't think, I mean, but that's politics. You don't think Trump has memorized talking points as well?
Yeah, but you can only go so far without being an actual good communicator. You know, Obama's a good communicator. What's his name? Clinton, Bill, is a good communicator. Even Hillary was a good communicator. She just was too much of an establishment Democrat. And,
I don't disagree with the establishment thing. I think when Hillary Clinton came along, people certainly wanted to get rid of established politicians. But to me, I don't see any difference in Trump. Trump is acting up to and including folks admitting that he lied to get in office by saying he could do all this shit on day one, where even Trump supporters are admitting we knew he couldn't do that when he said it. So that sounds.
Yeah, but he's still trying. He's still trying to deliver.
He didn't promise he would
try. Very hard to deliver what he promised. It's not like he's being lazy.
What are you giving him?
You could call Trump a lot of things. Lazy is not one of them.
What are you giving him? A participation trophy? He didn't promise to try.
Participation. He's actually working on it, and he keeps trying. He keeps working on it. I mean, this is a tough game.
I'm gonna give you. I mean, let me ask you. What does day one mean to you?
That he tries from day one, and he got a lot of shit done on day one.
He never, not one. Hold on.
Ceasefire in Palestine in day one.
Not one time at any rally did Trump ever use the phrase "I'm gonna try" on day one. Not once did he. What are you saying? What the hell are you talking about?
We're not a cult. We don't believe he's God, that he's actually going to get everything done with a snap of a finger on day one. He's not God. He's not Thanos.
You sure sounded kind of cold. Like, he never said nothing about trying on day one. Where are you getting that from?
Well, what do you mean? Yes, no, I understand where you're getting it from. But again, like, that's how the politics game is played. You promise everything. You promise you're going to deliver it quickly. And most people are okay most people are okay if you don't deliver as long as you fight for it. I mean, we know this game, you know, again, I see him as a better fighter than anyone I came before him. I've never seen anyone fight for what he promised like he does.
So your point is
about it every day. It's more than what most people do.
So you favor him fighting more than any politician, but you're admitting that as long as he fight, you don't care if he doesn't deliver.
Well, as long as he keeps trying, yes. I mean, how is he going to achieve anything without trying? I'm saying he's better than these other politicians that don't even fight, that they just give up the second they get a small obstacle in their way.
Does he ever have to do...
The alternative is they don't try at all, and they just promise shit to get elected, and once they're elected, they don't do shit.
So what is he doing? Because he ran on the price of eggs. What do you think he's doing right now to bring down the price of eggs? What do you think? You said he's trying. Give me some things he's done.
He's getting the price of oil down, which affects the price of everything else. He's working on lowering costs by, by drilling for more oil, he's just working on things. Even his the lady is in charge of the eggs or whatever. She's trying to import more eggs from overseas while our chicken population is getting repopulated. And they're working on it, but they're not fucking God. I mean, we gave even Biden more time than this. So this guy from first week were like, oh, he didn't fucking fix everything on day one.
Well, because that's what he promised.
I understand, but he's still working on it. It's not like he gave up.
How long does he get? Let me ask you this. How, in regards to him still working on it, as you're saying, how long does he get to work on it before you say, okay, you have failed on this? I mean, if he's at the end of his term and he says he's still working on it, do you give him credit at that point? Is there some point where you say you failed at doing this?
Yeah, when he's out of office. But I give him a year to actually show some results. I give him a year of experimentation. Right now, he's experimenting and trying different shit out to see what works. I give him a year of doing that. After that, he can't fuck up the way he's fucking up. Because he is fucking up. I admit to that. Even though he's still doing good as far as closing the border, getting hostages home, he's doing a shitload of shit that he doesn't even get credit for. But, all these guys want to talk about is the price of eggs, and I understand why. I'm not really faulting him for that. But you got to give him more than fucking 50 days. I think we're at 50 days right now.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know, 50 days for a guy who's promising to do some shit on day one, and on day 50 you're saying give him some more time. You get where people have an issue with that.
I understand. No, I get your point, but they're acting like he's not even trying.
No, they're acting like he promised to do some shit super fast.
Didn't mean to deliver. I mean, they're acting like he lied to us that he never meant to fucking deliver on anything when he's trying to deliver every day. He's working his ass off every day.
You do realize he promised to end the war in Ukraine before even taking the Oval Office. He said 24 hours, 50 days. He promised
that before Biden gave the Ukrainians rockets and they rocketed the center of Russia or whatever.
But that ain't what he said. He didn't say if things stay the same way they are right now, I can end the war in 24 hours. He never said any of that. You're kind of adding stuff in there.
Well, he was assuming things were going to stay the same. He didn't realize Biden was going to screw him over on the way out.
The guy you're complaining about that's being sleepy and all of this shit, you didn't...
Yeah, he woke up in the last minute and decided to fucking shoot rockets into Russia to piss him off. That's not going to help a peace deal.
Now, in the comments, Willis said MAGA really didn't like Kamala Harris because she wore purple and thought she was drunk, depicting an end of times prophecy in the Bible. That's it. Because she wore purple?
Sure you can find a reason, like whether she wore purple, whether her hair was curly or straight. You'll find some guy or some girl that didn't vote for her for that reason.
Yeah, like her laugh. People were complaining that she laughed too much. Shiv, thanks for the sub. Appreciate that. Her laugh is something they were complaining about.
Because she would laugh at inappropriate times. It's the weirdest shit. Like, she would just laugh every time she's nervous.
But Trump we're complaining about her laughing at inappropriate times, but Trump is making, as you guys refer to as jokes, about some of the most awful shit where nobody's laughing. You guys are okay with some of his sick jokes.
People are laughing. No, you can say a lot of things about Trump, but he's fucking funny. You can't say people are not laughing at his shit.
So when he said, I want to be a dictator on day one, everybody just broke out laughing.
Look, he said a dictator for one day, and again, like, most of the shit that he says, the theme of it is he wants to stop, like, to fight through the bureaucracy. And that's all he's done. He's like trying to, bureaucracy is something we're all frustrated, with. Because bureaucracy has fucked us over every chance it got.
What is your definition of bureaucracy?
He's saying he's going to fight, him saying he wants to be a dictator, all that means is he wants to fight through the bureaucracy of the current situation. And nobody likes bureaucracy.
What is your definition of bureaucracy?
Any procedure that's just set to stop things that has nothing to do with what people voted for. We all vote this man to do something. He gets in the office, and he finds out that procedure is the reason he can't do it. It's one thing where other senators vote against him. That's still a way of democracy. But if it's just straight up like procedure and shit that nobody agrees about, but it's just the rules that somebody made up. It's like the guy from QIT.
To me, it sounds like
they always come up with all these rules.
It sounds like you're describing Trump. He's the one that's doing all the shit nobody agrees with, all the firings, and I see DenCal getting rid of VA workers at the Veterans Administration. He's the guy. You sound like you're describing him.
No, but but they did a poll the other day. CNN did a poll, and they found out that even 50% of people agree with Doge. So, again, this is just the beginning. We'll see the final results, hopefully, in the year.
They did a poll that showed 50% of the people agreed with Doge. What did they do that on the lawn of Mar-a-Lago? 50% still?
That's CNN. I don't know what to tell you. That's CNN. I don't even fucking try to give you Fox News polls. Fox News polls actually usually work against Trump. They're polling. I don't know where they poll, but that has to be a heavy Democratic poll.
I have seen a lot of Americans favoring what Elon Musk was doing with Doge, but that was a week or two ago. I think
eliminating waste.
I think now that it's been leaked that one of the guys is complaining that planes are falling from the sky and they're demanding that he continue firing FAA workers and things like that. I think the folks that favor the actions of Doge is dropping because now they're getting rid of organizations that mean something to people. Like what DenCal mentioned, the Veterans Administration. You're firing vets and shit like that. I think we're well beyond now the stories they made up about USAID, and I'm saying made up some of those stories. I can see where people may have been okay with getting rid of condoms going to Gaza and some of these other made up stories. But now you're getting rid of veterans. they've moved into what you mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, fucking up. I think what he's doing now is fucking up.
Like, they're not perfect. I never said they were perfect, but they're trying. You got to give them 6 months and see what their 6 months to a year, and then see what the final results are. If they stay fucking up, if they make up for it in other ways, or if it just ends up being a disaster.
You know how much damage.
And then government changes after 2 years, where at least he'll be a real sitting duck after.
Trump has not officially been in office for 2 months. You know how much damage you could do in 6 months firing people at this pace?
He could also make up for the bad side of eliminating waste. You could also do a lot of good as well.
Do you see anything that's indicating that he may go that direction?
Well, remember earlier, everybody's like creating all this bullshit about these people want to destroy the economy. You gotta realize, like, Trump, his fortune is in real estate. If he fucks up the economy, there goes his fortune. Same with Elon. Elon and Trump don't have billions of dollars in the bank. They have assets. They have companies. They have businesses that are 100% in America. So if our economy goes to shit, they lose all that money. Like, their assets go to shit. So I believe they're going to want to protect their pocketbook by actually keeping the economy going. I mean, they're not a fucking investment firm.
I think what you're indicating, though, goes against exactly what MAGA was saying, that Trump, he didn't take a salary and Elon Musk doesn't need the money. I think it's safe to assume that even you realize that these folks are in office trying to profit. They're there to make money. They may be there to help fix America, as you might believe, but these individuals are not just there to do what's right by this country. They are trying to make money off of the office, both Trump and Elon.
But they make money by doing a good job.
No,
they actually lose money. I mean, I believe the reason that Trump got into this in the first place is he kept seeing his companies lose money and lose assets because of mistakes that Bush did. I mean, you can imagine how much of a real estate hit he took in the 2008 fucking crisis. Denkel was Denkel or Michael was bringing up like the Republican history, but this is MAGA. We're only been around for fucking 10 years, not even 9 years if you start at 2016.
Well, the Tea Party is you guys too. The old Tea Party that was going against Obama, that's MAGA. They just were called the Tea Party. Just like Black Lives Matter wasn't around. There was other groups that was doing the same shit. The Tea Party was basically MAGA.
That was not me. I started right there in 2016 with Trump. And, MAGA is a lot of things. So you're right, too. And it still includes Reagan Republicans and shit like that. So in a way, Denkel's right, but he's also, or Michael's, or whoever was talking. I couldn't see the name because I was on YouTube, not TikTok. But in a way, they're right, but they're also wrong because, Trump came in swinging at the Republicans before he even swung at the fucking Democrats. I mean, how many Republicans did he beat up on the way up?
And anybody that criticized Trump, the Republicans he beat on the way up or his opposition. Any of those folks, whether it's Jeb Bush or, Nikki Haley, any of those folks who kissed the ring would instantly became an ally. The only Republican.
He also changed the party. Like, this party is not the same party of fucking Jeb Bush or George Bush.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. And that could end up being a problem.
Why are you bringing up shit from their time as something to use against Trump? If he fucking destroyed them better than anything. What Democrat, Democrats should be thanking us for getting rid of the Bushes,
Oh, hell no. I think any Democrat, that's not going to happen. I think any Democrat would prefer Bush over Trump.
Well, then they're stupid. These people are stupid because, they're talking about these, supposed people that might die because Trump is tough against trans people. And he's not tough against trans. He's tough against...
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding? You're saying that Trump is not against trans. Are you fucking kidding me? He's already passed a law that they only recognize two genders. He don't even recognize you if you're fucking trans. That's how much he doesn't like you.
Stop you from changing sex. It's just
he doesn't. No. He does not recognize you.
Adult males and adult females from switching sex.
He does not recognize you. MAGA, wait, hold on. You understand that if you have a sex change or whatever, and you want to put down that you're a female on your driver's license or on your tax documents, he does not want, he passed the law. You can't do that. He does not even allow you to transition in terms of the government.
Wait, would that law stop you from changing your sex on a license?
No,
you said that law only makes it female and male, so you can't go on there and say that you're a fucking cat.
Right. But the point I'm making is Trump has done everything he legally can against transgender. He can't stop you from having surgery. He stopped everything you could do.
That's not my point. That's not the point I was trying to make. But the point I'm trying to make is there's real people dying in Ukraine and Russia and Palestine and Israel that he's trying to stop. And these people care about the people that might die because he's mean to fucking trans people. This is the point I was trying to make. Like, he's actually trying to stop people from dying.
We can entertain that argument, but when you try to say he doesn't have a problem, he doesn't hate transgender people.
Well, no. What I'm trying to, what my whole point with that is, if it's a trans person living their life, they're fine. It's when it affects other people that he gets upset. When they're trying to play sports.
If I transition to a female and I want to put female on my driver's license, how am I affecting anybody else's life? He's stopping me from doing that.
I think you can still do that.
No, you can't. He said he has passed a law that there's only two genders. You're not allowed in the eye of the federal government to even transition. I mean, he's banned you from doing it. In terms of your government documents and shit, he can't stop you from having surgery or putting on the fucking dress, but he stopped everything he legally could stop. That's about as clear of a sign as he don't like you.
I gotta look that up because remember the other day we were arguing about Article 5.
Okay.
About how, again, I'm not trying to pivot, but it's something I want to cover before we're done. Is the other day you were saying if Europe goes into Ukraine to fight the Russian, that we have to help them. And I was telling you, like, that's offensive. Like, that's an offensive act. Like, they're attacking. That Article 5 only counts if they get attacked. And I did some research, and basically, the only time Article 5 was triggered is 9/11 because the United States was attacked on its land. But the times when we went to war in Korea, the times we went to war in Vietnam, all the other battles we have, even the first Gulf War, even the Iraq War, there was no NATO because we weren't attacked.
Coalition, I get your point. The coalition
to be involved because of Article 5.
I get your point, and that's why Europe has talked about the coalition of the willing as well. They're going to do exactly what we did in Iraq, even though you're right. There was no Article 5. We were not attacked, so we created the coalition of the willing under Bush. They're talking about doing the same thing in the UK or in Europe rather, because the United States is acting so flaky, but they can't do Article 5, so they're going to have a coalition of the willing. So, but I want you to hear this before I got to move it on. But this is what I was talking about in regards to what we just said. If I can get it to even fucking play.
And they supported us, and I'm sure we'll support them. I don't know if we're going to join.
Wait, say that again.
They supported us in some of those wars in Iraq and Vietnam. They supported us. They just couldn't fight in the war. So we might do the same with them if they go to war with, Iraq or anybody else.
Under Trump, if the UK or France or Germany gets involved in the Ukrainian effort against Russia, under Trump, we're not going to participate. Trump himself, regardless of what our country is, Trump himself is a Russian ally. He's not going to lead the United States into some kind of conflict against Russia.
I still don't get how you're saying him trying to negotiate for peace and be a diplomat is him being a Russian ally.
The guy,
you can't make friends with Russia by shooting them with rockets like Biden tried at the end.
Have you ever heard Trump say anything negative about Russia at all?
I mean, Russia hasn't really opposed them. Like, if they do something to oppose them, I'm sure he'll fucking chew them out too. But right now, he's trying to negotiate peace with them.
I mean, he's talked about, Putin is smart and intelligent. I mean, he was speaking favorably of Putin long before the 2022 invasion under Joe Biden. He was even his first term. He had a Super Bowl interview with Bill O'Reilly, and Bill O'Reilly even was like, damn. I mean, he was even speaking favorably of him then, and Bill O'Reilly was like, well, this guy's a murderer, and Trump was like, well, so are we. I mean, he's never said anything negative about Russia.
What have the Russians done while he was president to really piss him off? Like, they didn't invade Ukraine.
What the hell is it? What is it? If I'm a piece of shit, but I haven't done anything wrong since you became president, I'm not a piece of shit to you?
I mean, if you're a piece of shit and you haven't been a piece of shit to me, why would I start fights with you if you haven't done anything to me?
How about just calling it out and telling the truth about what happened?
I mean, when he says it, when he's pressed, he says how awful fucking Russia, and even I say how awful Russia. But I also work with Russians. I work with Ukrainians. I work with
we're not talking about the Russian people. We're talking about Putin.
Yeah, but these are the Russian people dying. It's not Putin's family dying. It's the Russian people dying. It's the Russian girl I work with has her mother still in Russia, and she has to sneak away to Turkey to see her, and they have to meet in Turkey because she can't fly into Russia to see her own mother. And her mother's like dying. So there's sob stories all over this. And
let me just ask it to you this way: do you think Putin is a bad guy?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. But why go out of your way to antagonize him if it's not going to give you anything? All the times Trump antagonizes all these other people, there's actual benefit in it. He's trying to.
Why is he antagonizing Zelensky then?
Because he's trying to. I told you this the other day. He's trying to bully him into peace. He's trying to weaken him and get him to agree to fucking peace.
Why would he try to bully into peace the victim of war? Why not do that to Putin?
Because he doesn't need to yet. If Putin gives him a reason to do it, and if he thinks it's gonna help him, he'll do it.
So you start out with the victim?
Well, he's the one that's opposing peace right now. I mean, this first deal doesn't even have to do with Russia. This first deal, the metals deal, doesn't give Russia a thing.
Do you agree with Trump? Do you agree with
you're doing business with the United States?
Do you agree with Trump suggesting that that Zelensky started the war?
No, I don't agree with that.
Why would he do that then? Why would he say that?
I mean, it was Zelensky himself didn't start shit, but the actions of the West provoked this shit. But again, it's he said, she said, and I'm not taking sides on this. I see the point in. It's not even being nice to Putin. It's just not antagonizing him. That's all he's done is.
You're gonna trash the shit out of Zelensky, but you're gonna not antagonize Putin. That alone is being nice to him. When he victimizes Zelensky and all of your negative antagonistic comments are going towards Zelensky, that alone is being nice to him. I give you the last word. I gotta go. Go ahead.
I listed the benefits of why he antagonized Zelensky. Now you tell me why he should antagonize Putin, and what benefit will we get out of it if he antagonizes Putin? At the same time,
I don't think calling out what Russia did as wrong as antagonizing them. I mean, calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas, that's antagonizing. I mean, pointing out that Putin started the damn war is not antagonizing them.
It's not funny because that was funny.
I gotta go. All right. Appreciate it.
I think I said it. For once, I said everything I had to say. But, I mean, how would you do it? If you're trying to bring Zelensky and Putin to a peace table, how would you do it?
I'll answer it on the other side. Appreciate you coming through.
Go ahead.
All right. In regards to his question, by the way, if it's left up to me to help negotiate peace between these two nations, wow, that's going to be challenging because I don't know how you could get Russia to get the hell out of the Ukraine on their own. Now, you could promise Putin that the Ukrainians would never be allowed to join NATO. But I don't know if that's enough to make him leave, because I don't really believe that's the only reason he invaded. I just think that Putin wants to reestablish the Soviet Union, and he's going to use any excuse to invade countries to make that happen. So right now he's using the excuse that, well, they wanted to become part of NATO, so that's why we invaded them. Very similar to what Germany did at the beginning of World War II, just started making up excuses to invade people. So I don't know. And some would suggest, and I'll continue answering his question, but some are even suggesting that Trump may be on the road to doing that, suggesting that Panama needs to lower the cost of U.S. ships going through, or we're going to seize the Panama Canal. Obviously talking about potentially using the military if Greenland doesn't sell us their country. He was asked, would you take the military off the table? He said, I can't do that. That's with acquiring Greenland. Obviously, with the Canadians becoming a 51st state, well, if they don't cooperate, they're dealing with tariffs and God knows what else there. It almost, and then of course with Zelensky, we want him to give us rare earth minerals to the tune of 350 million, when all of the analysts that look into this say that we didn't give them anywhere near 350 million bucks worth of equipment. But Trump is going all over the country saying that they owe us 350 million. Many believe that he is doing exactly what Putin or even Adolf did, coming up with excuses to maybe, promote military action against these countries. All of a sudden, if they don't do what I'm saying, then that might be a reason to go in. Hopefully that's ridiculous. Hopefully it is. But he is starting to create a lot of reasons to dislike countries. I just gave you 4 of them right there. All of a sudden, the Panamanians, they're not doing something right, so we may have to take the whole canal from them. It does sound like he's on a path to potentially doing that. So, but I do believe in regards to the question about ending the Ukraine-Russian war, you can try to negotiate with Putin, but if not, then it may have to be a war that you may have to just allow the Ukrainians to fight until the last man. I mean, at the end of the day, if they don't fight, then they're going to get overran, and God knows how many people that Putin would execute anyway. For instance, if Putin was to take control of the Ukrainian territory, any soldier that fought in that war on behalf of the Ukraine would probably not be safe. If he can show a history that you were fighting on behalf of the Ukraine and you killed Russian soldiers during the course of that war, you feel confident that Putin wouldn't throw you in prison or execute you? I mean, so you might as well fight to the last man. That's all that's going to happen anyway. A lot of the women and children have already evacuated the country, which is what happens during war. So either you try to hopefully get Russia to leave the country, which I don't think they're going to do that. So if you got to negotiate a peace deal between those two, it might not be possible. And the peace deal that Trump is offering, for instance, guarantees 0 for the Ukrainians. He's only doing it so that we can get access to the rare earth minerals, so that we can get some of our own, financial resources back. He's not doing anything on behalf of the Ukrainians. He's made it clear he's not offering them any security. At best, he is saying, well, if we're there refining your minerals, then they're not going to attack because the United States has assets there. That doesn't guarantee that. That just guarantees maybe they don't attack in that one area. We attacked Syria while Russia was there. Remember, Trump launched 59 Tomahawks or 60 Tomahawks into Syria? Russians were there. We just told them to get away from this area that we're about to strike. They can do the same in Ukraine. We're going to launch an attack on the eastern side of the country or the western side of the country or the southern side of the country. You're mining in the north. We'll avoid that area, just letting you know. Do not use this airspace. Avoid this region. That's where the attack's going to be. So us not providing security to the Ukraine is exactly that. They're not secure from this deal that Trump is offering. Trump is trying to make it sound like I'm doing a great thing for Zelensky. Why won't he take the damn deal? Because there's nothing stopping Russia from re-establishing another war 2 months, 6 months down the line, a year down the line. There's nothing stopping him from doing it again. That's why Zelensky is not eager to take the deal. Will says the only thing he is fighting for, in reference to Trump, is to achieve ultimate power. He could give a fuck about anything or anyone else. You think Trump is that shallow, huh? Wow. Damn. The eggs is a bigger issue than Trump is in office. They're admitting it was the bird flu. But they were trying to make it sound like Biden was the reason the eggs cost so much. Now that he's gone, people are being honest. Gangsta, grandma, good evening. Welcome to the program, Gangsta. Are you there? Gangsta grandma, are you there?
Something's wrong with your internet.
Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay.
Are you here?
All right, loud and clear.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
I am so sick. I'm so sick of people. The reason why she didn't win, it was because she's a woman, and it was because she was black. And if people couldn't comprehend what she was saying, because a lot of people from the United States has like 5th grade level education. You feel what I'm saying? They don't understand shit.
So you think Kamala Harris, if she was a white, you think it was solely because of her? If she was a man, for instance, with the same policies, the same interviews, you think Kamala Harris would have done better just being a man?
Yes. It's because she's woman. She was a woman and she's black, or she's not black enough. She's an Indian. It's just disgusting. The United States would rather have it burned by a white man than have a black woman in office that was doing good. Let's keep it real. And it's the fucking truth. And if people don't like it, they kiss it. Then you had your last guest. That's a mental case. Oh, well, he's not a puppet to Russia. Yes, he is. Did you hear that? That's a cult mentality. Oh, give him a year. So what? He could burn down the whole United States?
Yeah.
He hasn't even been in office for 2 months. And look at it. It's already crashing. The stock market's down. He even said that we're going to go into a recession. But yeah, I thought Biden was so bad.
Yeah.
We had good economy and shit. That's why MAGA is dumb. They are. They're uneducated. They're special.
You think all of MAGA are uneducated?
Yep. You voted for Trump. You're dumb. You're dumb. We had the leftists that didn't vote. We had leftists that didn't vote for her because why? Oh my God! Well, she's not
wait a minute. Hold on.
Then we have MAGA.
Hold on.
We have two special idiots.
But I can't just let you say that if you voted for Trump, you're dumb. You don't see.
They're dumb.
Hold on.
They're dumb.
Hold on. There are legitimate reasons to support Trump.
No. See, that's why I can't stand you. You're always trying to ride. You're trying to suck up to them. They're dumb. They're uneducated idiots.
Let me go down the list. If you're pro-life, who should you vote for? Between
pro-life?
Trump and if you're
They're
pro-life.
They're not pro-life. If there's pro-life, they wouldn't take away food stamps. If there's pro-life, they wouldn't take away WIC from mothers and children. They're not pro-life. They're pro-birth. They want to have birth. Do you know why they want to do that? Because the white teen man is disappearing, they think. That ain't pro-shit.
What if you... Wow, that was...
I'm pro-life. I want to give to the people that need help. The Vice President, she wanted to help people. If you wanted a baby, she was going to help you.
What if you don't want the transgender community being shoved down your children's throats at school? Who you should vote for?
Who's doing that, for God's sake?
I'm hearing this all over the place.
Because they're some kind of special idiots. You know what we don't want to shove down our throats? 16 kids. Yo's pregnant. Yeah. You know the whole show about 16 and pregnant? Yeah. Made a big deal about it. Oh, well, let's have a big old show about it. Oh, what, straight sex? Get that shoved down our throats? Oh, my God. There's a trans kid in my class. Oh, my God. Your kid's going to turn trans. That don't work that way. Or your kid will come home with a different sex change. That don't work that way. That's what I'm telling you. They are dumb.
I don't know.
What?
Okay, let me ask you. Okay, let me ask you another one. If you want to have a secure border, who should you vote for between Trump and Kamala?
Biden. Biden had more. Let me tell you. Let's break this shit down because I live in a border state. Okay, the borders are never closed. Never closed. They cannot close the border. It's unconstitutional. If we close the border, we won't have no trucks coming in.
Do you But do you not agree that Trump has done a better job securing the border than Biden?
Nope. He has less interactions at the border than Biden. Biden had over 50,000 a month. So-called their Orange Jesus has less than 30,000. He's catching and releasing people.
You don't think that Trump did a better job on the border than Biden, really?
No, he's not doing nothing. Oh, my God. Look at the statistics. That fool has a dick shit. All thing he could do is talk, and sign executive orders, and talk his shit, and do nothing for us.
What about...
prices didn't went down, groceries hasn't went down. But guess what? We're going to a recession.
What about allegedly clearing out waste, fraud, and abuse?
He's not clearing out waste fraud. He's clearing out money to give to the rich man. He wants to take Social Security away. He wants to cut, what is that called? SNAP. He wants to take that away from people. He wants to take, Medicaid and Medicare. He wants to gut it. He's taking shit from the vets. Oh, yeah, that's really helping, huh?
But you do realize Trump has stated he has no intentions of touching Social Security.
Oh, well, you know what? What he says and what he does, two different things. See, what he's saying, but what's in the bill is totally different. In the tax thing, and you know what? The biggest dummies of all the megas, that's why I call them dummies. You know what I mean? Where's the tax breaks at for over the OT, overtime? Where's it at?
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
Yeah, it's not in the bill. There's only could be one bill. They can't have 2 or 3 tax bills. There's only one bill. And now one thing is in there.
Yeah.
Now one thing. But he sure is good and everything for the poor, though, and giving to the rich man. That's what I'm telling you. There's special ed dropouts. Whoever voted for him are special ed fucking dropouts. I don't give a damn what color you is. You voted for you're dumb.
You sure you just don't have a bad case of Trump derangement? You just hate MAGA, sound like.
Because they're dumb. They're dumb. We're all going to go down like the Titanic because we got some special ed dropouts that don't give a fuck and thinking this man is the savior and it's going to come in and do everything good, and he hasn't did shit. He just said it. We're going to go into a recession. Under Biden, we wasn't under a recession. We had a good fucking economy. Just as the slow ones, mega, don't comprehend what a good economy is and what a bad economy is. They want everything cheap.
You believe that under Biden we had a good economy?
Yes, we had a good economy.
I don't think anybody believes that, gangster.
Oh, well, you know what? They're stupid. We had a good economy. You know what it is? They don't know what a good economy is because they're dumb. They're 5th grade level.
I would tell you, I think the economy is one of the reasons that hurt Biden and why he lost.
Because they don't comprehend. We had the stock market was going through the damn roof. We had jobs going up everywhere. Everyone was having jobs. The pay was going up.
Did you?
Oh my God! They had the reason why. The reason why they blamed him is because the corporate fucking greed. Joe Biden had no control of the gas and the groceries. That was corporate greed. But see, you couldn't comprehend that to the special dropouts because we people say it's corporate greed. Joe Biden had no control on it. The stock market's going crazy. You know, the economy is up there. People were spending money. But you know, let me tell you about what the maggots are. They would have went out and bought those fucking shoes, but they was complaining about egg prices. They bought the Bible from the Orange Jesus. They bought his Bible and everything else, but they was carrying the cheese.
Let me ask you something, man. What about Trump's first term? Did he do anything good for America at all, in your opinion?
Hell no.
Nothing at all.
He didn't do shit. He didn't do shit. The only reason why he came for the second time is to keep his sorry ass out of jail.
You don't give him credit
for going to destroy the fucking country.
You don't give him credit for the fact that there was no wars under his watch.
There was wars underneath him. What are you guys talking about? There was wars.
Like what?
We were still in it. We was in Afghanistan stuff.
He got us out of Afghanistan.
What the fuck are you guys talking about?
He got us out of Afghanistan.
He didn't get us out. He fucked us on Afghanistan. Biden, he fucked Biden over on that. He did. He fucked Biden over. That was because what did you want him to do? He had to get pulled out.
So you believe his his first term was a failed term?
Yes, he let 5,000 those terrorists out. What are you guys talking about? He didn't do shit.
Then how the hell did he get reelected? If he was that bad.
How many times I got caught? They're dumb. They believe anything. Yes, master. Yes, master. They're in a cult. They believe anything that white man tells them to. Oh. If they told the cult people to go jump off a building, they'll jump it. They would.
You really believe that wait. You said jump off a building. You really believe that MAGA would kill themselves for Trump?
Yeah, hell yeah. They're in a cult.
Damn.
They're in a cult.
That's a cult. That is the G. That's the Kool-Aid. That's the definition of Kool-Aid. I don't know if I believe that. Huh?
What?
I don't know if I believe something crazy like that. That sounds crazy.
He's doing good right now. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Wow. Well, I don't.
They, you know what? This is how dumb these mofos are. They believe everything this man said. Right now, we're going into a session, and you know what? They're still riding hard on him.
Well, they believe that what Trump is doing overall will be beneficial for America, but it takes time.
Well, what the fuck? Going into a recession? Are you fucking serious?
With the tariffs, they believe it'll bring jobs back to America.
Okay, there's certain good tariffs. The blanket tariffs that he wants to do is not good for us. We're the ones that are going to pay it.
Yeah, well,
we're the ones that are going to pay it.
They believe
but that. But yeah, they'll complain about the gas. I swear to God, I hope we make it to the 4 years. And I wished they would have voted for her. We would have been in this situation. We wouldn't have.
You think Kamala Harris would have been better at negotiating peace and all of that?
Hell yeah. Kamala, she was good. They didn't want a black woman. They didn't want an educated black woman. Good God, she spoke common sense. But they're two idiots, like fifth grade level, that couldn't comprehend her. Oh my God, she laughed because she was a fucking human being.
All right, gangster grandma.
But she wasn't half, like some of our black folks is so special. Oh my gosh, she's not black, she's Indian. Oh my gosh, she's mixed.
Yeah. She was biracial.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was biracial. I got to move it on, but man, you really...
Let me tell you something.
Real quick.
One more thing, okay?
Real quick,
Let me tell you something. We all going to go down in this shit. We all going to go down. We're going down in the Titanic. I didn't vote for this shit, but we all going to go down. And it's not going to be pretty going down. Because what he's doing is wrecking the whole damn economy and shit. He is.
That's bleak.
We had a good economy, now it's going to shit.
I hope you're wrong. I gotta move it on. I really hope you're wrong.
Good night.
I really hope you're wrong. Thank you for coming through. All right, moving on. Wow. This is certainly not a fan of Trump there. So she followed MAGA Reacts. Wow. A viewer that certainly favored Trump and followed by someone that thinks that Trump is the worst thing sound like to ever come down the pipe. Wow. That's strong commentary. As I say all the time, we don't block, ban, or censor, folks. We are uncensored. We are an open program. I don't know where I'm looking for my beloved MAGA hat. We are MAGA friendly. We've always been that way. So you're going to hear commentary that's favorable, commentary that's critical. That's how uncensored free speech works. You can be critical of anybody on this program, including yours truly. Nevertheless, I appreciate the 63,000 on the likes. I didn't get you guys to tap the screen as much. By the way, if you favor this uncensored format, we're here Monday through Friday. So if you favor it, feel free to follow if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, subscription on YouTube, if you will. We'll see you on the next show. Thank you for tuning in. I got to get my ass in bed. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Thanks. And I don't know what I just did there, but okay. Talk to you tomorrow, folks.